Hello, hello, hello. I was gonna do a gaming stream tonight. But, I don't know. Not many days left in October. I wanted to watch stupid stuff. As you can see, I have the, where's my mouse? There it is. I have the hat. Halloween hat. So we are officially festive. One's weird. Why is it? Why is it, odd? I already used this layout once before, and all right, let's see. Guess I'll have to adjust this each time I do a video because sometimes they're different. I want it to show video. There we go. That's better. Because YouTube videos can be weird, where some of them will be like a different format. All right, that should work. I want it to be able to show like the title and then. Okay, so my kind of theme with Halloween or Spooktober or whatever. That gets so quiet so quickly if I move away. Anyways, I wanted to like just watch videos like the kind where you know they're all fake. Well, you assume they're all fake, I guess, but sometimes, you know, there's interesting stuff and it's kind of fun to to pick it apart. So this one is from Unexplained Mysteries: 15 Unsolved Mysteries That Cannot Be Explained. We'll have to see how the audio comes through.
The mystery of how Stephen Clark vanished from a public restroom. On the 28th of December in 1992, 23-year-old...
I think that's pretty good, actually.
Stephen Clark disappeared under
Loud enough to hear it, but not like overwhelming. I hate the way that some apps, like say the Kick app, will auto rotate even if you have auto rotation on your phone turned off. Like, that's really annoying.
In North Yorkshire. What should have been an ordinary winter walk with his mother Doris ended in a mystery that has remained unsolved for more than 3 decades. Stephen was last seen entering a public restroom near Saltburn's seafront promenade. By the time his mother emerged from the adjoining women's facility only minutes later, her
This is
son
an
had
old one.
vanished without a trace. Stephen Charles Clark was born on the 30th of August in 1969 in Colchester, Essex, to Charles and Doris Clark, both former police officers. His early childhood was marked by tragedy when, at only 2 years old, he was struck by a truck after wandering from the family home. The accident left him in a coma for a month and resulted in permanent injuries, including a damaged arm and a noticeable limp. Despite these difficulties, Stephen grew into a tall, intelligent, and sociable young man with passions for music, swimming, bowling, and computers. Much of Stephen's youth was spent in South Africa, where the family lived before returning to England in 1990. Settling in Masker by the Sea, Stephen attended the Rathbone Society, an organisation dedicated to helping disabled people find employment. Though he faced difficulties due to his disability, Stephen applied himself fully and was recognised with an Apprentice of the Year award, highlighting his determination and skill. On the day of his disappearance, Stephen's father, Charles, had gone to watch Middlesbrough play Crystal Palace, leaving Doris and Stephen to spend the afternoon together. They chose to take a long walk along the beach in Saltburn. As they began heading home, Stephen mentioned that he needed to use the restroom, and they stopped at a public facility near the seafront pier. Doris entered the women's restroom while Stephen entered the men's. That was the last confirmed sighting of him. When Doris came out minutes later, Stephen was gone. Believing he may have already started walking home, she followed the route back but never saw him. When she returned to their residence, Stephen was not there.
What if he was still
She
just in the
later explained that she
restroom?
had not checked inside the men's restroom,
Yeah.
stating that Stephen, being 23, would have been embarrassed by such an intrusion. When Charles returned from the football match later that day, Doris explained what had happened. Together, they searched for their son, but found no trace of him. At 6 o'clock that evening, they reported Stephen missing to the police. At the time of his disappearance, Stephen was described as 6 feet 3 inches tall, with a medium build, blue eyes, and dark brown hair. He was wearing a maroon crew-neck jumper, a navy parka with a fur hood, denim jeans, and grey trainers. Doris also recalled that just before Stephen went into the restroom, 2 men accompanied by a young woman had entered behind him. Strangely, these individuals were never identified, nor did they ever come forward. The search yielded no immediate results, and investigators faced a baffling puzzle. Security cameras in the area provided no answers, and no physical evidence pointed to what had happened
He
in
never
those few
existed.
crucial minutes between
He was a
Stephen
made-up
entering the restroom
individual.
and Doris exiting the adjacent one. Over the following weeks, sightings of Stephen were reported, but none could be verified. A witness familiar with him claimed to have seen him near his home around 3:45 in the afternoon on the day he vanished. Another woman insisted she had seen him 2 days later, leaving the beach with an older man wearing glasses. However, due to the distance from which she allegedly observed them, police questioned the reliability of her account. On the 14th of January in 1993, a family friend named Stan Kamesh claimed to have spoken to Stephen in Redcar, less than 10 miles from Saltburn. This initially gave the family hope, but years later, Stan admitted that the man he encountered was not Stephen, but someone who merely looked like him. Why he originally claimed otherwise remains unexplained. Despite extensive efforts, the case quickly grew cold. The absence of evidence meant that theories about Stephen's disappearance relied on speculation. Some suggested he may have walked away intentionally, though this was inconsistent with his life, family ties, and the fact that his personal items were left at home.
Yeah, but a lot of the times, I say a lot of the times as if we got. Anyways, sometimes when people are trying to disappear, that's what they do. Like, if you leave. Oh man, there's a lot of. Sorry, I was getting multiple bots on Kick, so on followers only over there. Anyways, sometimes if these people are trying to disappear, like if they're smart, that might be what they do. You may not know that they're going to try to disappear, and then they're not exactly going to go pack a bag or something like that.
Others suspected foul play,
I mean,
particularly given the unidentified men and child who entered the restroom after him. Stephen's disappearance is especially haunting because of the setting. A public restroom, in broad daylight, with people nearby, hardly seems the place where someone could vanish without being seen or heard. Yet, more than 30 years later, that is exactly what appears to have happened. The mystery of Stephen Clark remains a painful reminder of how swiftly someone can disappear, leaving behind only questions. His family has endured decades of uncertainty, with no answers to explain what occurred that winter afternoon. Whether Stephen left the restroom and encountered misfortune, or whether something more sinister happened inside those walls, remains unknown. What is clear is that a young man with his whole life ahead of him stepped into a public restroom in Saltburn and was never seen again. The mystery of Elaine Johnson.
yeah. So I don't know. Like, if he wanted to disappear, that's a pretty good way to do it. The fact that she never went and checked. I'm not saying like she's saying, oh, it would have been kind of awkward for her to go into the men's restroom. She didn't need to go in the men's restroom, but she came out, didn't see him, and assumed he'd already left instead of going, well, maybe he's still in the restroom. That's a little weird. Uh, versus just waiting a few minutes to see if he comes out. You know, like if me and somebody else go into the two different restrooms at the same time, I don't come out, and if I don't see them, assume they've already left, and then just bye. Like, so basically, she just kind of left him behind at that point. Um, yeah, all kinds of things could have happened there. That's just a weird
The
explanation.
disappearance of Elaine Johnson, remembered today through the efforts of her daughter, Jody Malcolm, remains one of Ohio's most baffling unsolved mysteries. On the 3rd of December in 1990, Jody walked into her mother's apartment and encountered a chilling scene. Elaine's laundry was mid-cycle. Her belongings were scattered in ways that suggested an interruption, and cryptic handwritten notes lay waiting to be found. Yet Elaine herself had seemingly vanished into thin air. Elaine Bennett Johnson was born on the 14th of February in 1949. By 1990, she was 41 years old, divorced, and living alone at the Kimberly Park Apartments in Palmer, Ohio. She had 2 adult children and worked steadily at the Tri-C Unified Technology Center. Outwardly, she lived a quiet life, but those close to her knew she was struggling. Elaine battled inner struggles, and though she was seeking companionship, Her personal life had grown
They always do
complicated.
these like crazy zoom
In the
ins
weeks
on the
before her
faces
disappearance, she had begun
photographs.
dating a man named Brian Sachs, someone her daughter later admitted she distrusted from the very beginning. The last time Jodi saw her mother was Thanksgiving Day, the 22nd of November, 1990. Their encounter had been tense, marked
Well,
by
she was
Elaine's
pretty.
drinking, which often placed strain on their relationship. Still, the two spoke by phone later that night, but Elaine seemed unsettled and confused during the call. Not long after, she shocked Jodi by announcing plans to marry Brian in February, despite their brief courtship. Even more unsettling, Elaine admitted she didn't want Jodi to meet him, fearing her daughter wouldn't approve.
Hmm.
In the days that followed, Elaine made troubling remarks to co-workers. On the 29th of November, she picked up her paycheck and told a colleague that if she wasn't heard from in a few days, it would mean she was dead.
What the
She
heck?
provided no explanation. Concern rippled through those who heard the remark.
I mean,
but Elaine went on.
we occasionally make jokes like that, you know, with coworkers. Nothing weird, but at the same time, that is, I don't know. Depends on how she said it.
Away, leaving them puzzled and uneasy. Jodi's alarm grew when, on her 21st birthday,
Especially she
the
never
3rd of
joked like
December,
that previously.
a co-worker of her mother's called to say Elaine had not been seen for days. Rushing to her mother's apartment, Jodi found the car still in the parking lot and her coat, purse, identification, and money left behind. The only item missing was Elaine's apartment key. Her storage locker was also open, but her
Traveler.
laundry sat unfinished.
Watching some goofy, not goofy necessarily, but you know, unsolved mystery.
The scene suggested she had been interrupted mid-task, but by whom or what remains unclear.
Wait,
Adding
what?
to the mystery, Elaine was last captured on security footage entering the building's elevator 3 days earlier. There is no evidence she ever left the building, yet she was gone without a trace. Then came the discovery of the handwritten notes. Their content remains a mystery, but their presence hinted at troubling thoughts or perhaps even coded messages. Attention soon turned to Brian Sachs. Early conversations with him left Jodi uneasy. She recalled his detached demeanor and lack of urgency about Elaine's absence, which contrasted with her mother's insistence that Jodi would not like him. Initially, Brian told police he had last seen Elaine on the evening of the 30th
That's
of
a nice
November,
scene.
leaving her apartment around 8:30 in the evening. Later, however, he changed his story, claiming he had stayed the
Are you working, Traveler, or are you chilling?
night and departed the following morning. He described finding a note for Elaine on the intercom and delivering it to her in the laundry room where she behaved strangely. The note itself has never been recovered. Brian also claimed he later panicked when he could not reach her by phone, even calling the police. Yet records show no such call was made. Only after Elaine was reported missing did he contact authorities, suggesting they search beneath a nearby bridge, implying she may have jumped in a moment of
What the
despair.
heck?
Nothing was ever found. Despite inconsistencies in his statements, Brian passed a polygraph test and no charges were ever filed against him.
Well, a polygraph test doesn't mean
Elaine's
anything.
ex-husband, Roger,
What's up, Ari?
living in Texas at the time, was quickly ruled out as a suspect. With no other clear leads, the case
Off today
stagnated.
because sick. Just
For
wait.
Jodi,
Oh, nice. What are you
the
having for
pain
dinner?
of her mother's disappearance has lingered for decades. She has spoken openly about the eerie atmosphere of her mother's apartment that day, the unanswered phone calls, and the unanswered questions left behind. One of the most haunting aspects remains the security footage.
Yeah, that was.
Elaine enters the elevator,
They got
but
banned.
she is never seen leaving the building.
They got banned.
Theories abound. Some suggest
My
Elaine
brother's
may have
over
been
there in the
lured
chat,
away
so
under unusual circumstances, while others believe she may have suffered a crisis. Yet the evidence in her apartment, the belongings left behind, the open locker, the cryptic notes, suggests something more complex. The disappearance of Elaine Johnson underscores the fragility of life and the enduring mysteries that can surround a single
deer
vanity.
suit.
It remains unsolved, a puzzle with pieces missing, leaving her daughter Jodi and others to carry the weight of uncertainty. The strange contradictions
sounds
in Brian's
good.
accounts, Elaine's disturbing remarks
My
before
mom
her
made some
disappearance, and the physical evidence in her apartment
basically
all
Euro
point to a story
stuff,
still waiting to be told.
and we didn't have like the
Over 30
actual
years later, Elaine Johnson's case stands as a chilling
bread or
reminder
pitas or whatever.
that
She
some
had these,
mysteries remain hidden in
similar
modern
bread,
society.
but they're just like little
The
discs.
unanswered questions,
They're called
the
like
cryptic notes, and the eerie silence of a
naan
woman who
or
vanished
something
from
like
her own
that.
apartment building continue to haunt all who hear her
And
story.
they had like a onion flavor to them, and so she had like
The
the
mystery
she had like the Greek spread stuff that she made. So I put that on the naan bread or whatever. Yeah, in AA and yeah. And then we put the Euro stuff on it, and it was really good, really good.
of the Sandown Clown. In May of 1973, two children.
Wait, were they abducted by Five Nights at Freddy's? Those are yeah, yeah. And the way she made it, it's sometimes when people like my mom are not necessarily enthusiastic about making something because it's not something they want to eat. They don't do the bestest ever job. But this, she actually did a really good job on because it was like a combination of the beef and lamb, and then she had like peppers and I don't know. It was well seasoned. It was good stuff. It was good stuff. Yeah, put it on the naan with the spread, and it was awesome. Beef and deer stew sounds interesting though. I've only had deer once in my life, and the people that made it didn't know what they were doing. So
Children in the Isle of
it was
Wight
pretty it was pretty gamey. Naan was the first to disappear at all the conference. Yeah, I would. Yeah, it's good stuff.
an encounter
Make nice
so
little
bizarre
sandwiches
and
out of it and stuff.
unexplainable that it continues to puzzle researchers to this day. The entity they met called itself Sam, and it was unlike anything they had ever seen before.
Played by Heath Ledger.
Described as a strange mix between a clown, an alien, and a robot, Sam was an entity that defied all logical explanation. His appearance, behavior, and means of communication suggested something far beyond what conventional science could understand. The encounter remains one of the most mysterious and unexplained cases in
Freddy
paranormal
Fazbear. That's
history.
the one.
The two children were exploring a wooded area near Sandown, a small seaside resort, when they first saw the mysterious figure. Sam was tall and thin, with a strangely proportioned body and an oversized round head. His face appeared to be crudely painted on, with blue triangular eyes, a rectangular brown nose, and an oval-shaped yellow mouth that did not move when he spoke or ate. His hair
they're
was
like
thin, frizzy, and reddish-brown, hanging limply from under his oddly shaped hat. The hat itself was tall and pointy and seemed to be part of his overall costume-like appearance.
It's such a weird combination. The first couple are like these real life, just missing persons cases, and then it's just were these kids just making some crap up? Like
his skin was pale, almost paper-like, and his hands and feet each had only 3 digits. Adding to his strangeness, Sam had wooden antennae protruding from his wrists and ankles, and 2 more just above his ears. His attire was equally peculiar, a frilly green and red suit with a high collar, dark blue gloves and bare feet. The entire ensemble made him look like a character from a surreal dream, rather than
no,
a real
Freddy
being.
Clonebot is real. Saw
But
him.
despite his peculiar appearance, he was not aggressive or frightening. Instead, he was curious, gentle, and willing to communicate. When the children approached, Sam spoke, but not through his mouth. Instead, his voice came from a small speaker system, which also emitted occasional siren-like sounds. His speech was clear but robotic, and when asked if he was human, he immediately said no. When questioned if he was a ghost, his response was cryptic. Well,
Stephen
not
King
really.
and weed, the really
I am
good.
in an odd sort of way. His response left the children with more questions than answers, making it unclear whether Sam was from another world, another reality, or something entirely different. Sam revealed that others like him existed on Earth, but they were afraid to interact with humans. He did not elaborate
Yeah,
on
these
why,
kids like
nor did he provide details about where they came from or what their purpose
ate the
was.
wrong tree bark or something.
The children watched in astonishment as Sam removed his hat, revealing a balding, white-scalped head with the same paper-like texture as his skin. Then, in what was perhaps the most surreal moment of the encounter, he performed a bizarre trick.
Oh gosh.
He took a berry, placed it in his ear, and then lurched forward, causing it to reappear out of his eye socket. He repeated the process again, this time successfully swallowing the berry. The children were both fascinated and unnerved by the sight, as it seemed to defy the normal workings of a human body.
Obviously.
Throughout the encounter, Sam remained vague in his answers. He seemed to be aware of many things, but unwilling or unable to provide clear information. The children continued asking him questions, trying to understand what he was, where he came from, and why he was there, but they received only cryptic responses. After a while, the children decided to leave. Still trying to make sense of what they had just witnessed, they ran into a groundskeeper and told him their story. Instead of taking them seriously, the man laughed off their claims, dismissing it as a product of overactive imaginations. The children were discouraged and chose not to speak of their experience for several weeks. Eventually, they shared their strange encounter with their father, who took them back to the location of their meeting with Sam. However, there was no sign of him or the hut he had been in. As news of their bizarre experience
So weird.
spread, the British UFO Research Association
I
began
don't know why the
into
chat
case.
does that.
Despite
It
their
randomly
efforts, they could
updates
find no
the
physical
YouTube
evidence of Sam's
side and
existence beyond
reposts
the
everything
children's
that it already
testimony.
showed.
No other witnesses came forward, and no trace of the being, his hut, or any related anomalies were ever found. Even without tangible evidence, the story of Sam the Sandown Clown remains one of the most perplexing encounters in paranormal and UFO history. Unlike many mysterious sightings, Sam did not behave aggressively, nor did he seem to have any ill intent. He was strange, mysterious, and undeniably unearthly.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure these kids were
But he
just
was
making
also
some
gentle
crap up.
and
And
playful, speaking with the children rather than scaring them away. To this day, the encounter remains unexplained. Those who study high strangeness cases believe Sam's encounter fits into a broader pattern of otherworldly visitations, where beings that do not fit into
you
traditional
went on
categories of
commercial break.
extraterrestrials or ghosts
That's funny.
appear briefly,
No, because it'll sit there and it'll
interact with
post the
humans,
things like
and
right
then
there. It
vanish
just
without
posted
a
what you
trace.
said in real time,
Whether
and
Sam
then
was
like
an
at some
alien,
time
an
later,
advanced being, a
it'll
lost
just
entity from
randomly
another reality, or
re-update
something beyond human understanding, one thing is certain.
the
The
YouTube,
encounter
just the
left a
YouTube
lasting
side
impression on the children who
for
experienced
some
it.
reason, and just like flood
Their testimony
the
remains consistent,
chat box with it.
and no evidence has ever surfaced to debunk their claims. The mystery of Sam the Sandown Clown.
Well, you don't need
continues,
evidence to debunk
continuing
them.
to
You need
captivate
evidence that something
researchers and those
existed.
fascinated by the unknown. 3 men vanished
Pausing
from
for
3
station
separate
identification.
hospitals at different times, yet each was later discovered deceased on the roof space of their respective hospitals. In 2017, a 61-year-old man named Teteteki Gkotsi was admitted to Stellenbosch Hospital for abdominal surgery. Due to his condition, he was unable to walk without assistance. He was under the care of the hospital staff, and one day, while a nurse stepped away momentarily to retrieve clean linen, Kotsi mysteriously vanished.
He said, "Bye-bye."
He was nowhere to be found. A missing persons case was immediately opened, and his family was informed of his disappearance. Both hospital staff and police conducted thorough searches of the hospital grounds, yet there was no trace of him. His disappearance confounded authorities, as he had limited mobility, making it highly unlikely that he could have simply walked away unnoticed. 2 weeks later, construction workers at the hospital made a disturbing discovery. His lifeless body was found in the rafters of the hospital, in a secluded and remote section of the building.
In the rafters.
How he had ended up there, or what caused his death, remained a mystery. 2 years later, a similar and equally baffling case occurred at Mahatma Gandhi Hospital, located in a different province. A man named Sandile Sibia, who worked in construction,
Well, you know, weird stuff happens
suffered
in
a broken
India.
femur and required medical attention.
Can you
After
prove
being
I didn't
examined,
see a unicorn?
doctors
Yeah,
at
exactly.
Mahatma Gandhi Hospital determined that he would need to be transferred to a higher-level hospital for surgery. His family visited him while he awaited his transfer, and he appeared to be in stable condition. However, on the day he was scheduled for transfer, he suddenly disappeared without a trace. A search ensued, involving hospital personnel, police, and his family, but no clues
Aftermath.
to his whereabouts were found. The case took a macabre turn when, 2 weeks later, hospital staff noticed a leaking substance seeping through the storeroom ceiling.
Ew.
The smell was overpowering.
He was leaking in
prompting
the
an
ceiling.
investigation. Authorities were called in, and to their shock, they discovered Sibia's decomposing body in the ceiling of the storeroom. How he managed to get there, or why he would attempt to access the ceiling, remained unanswered questions. Once again, there was no logical explanation for how a bedridden patient had ended up hidden within
That
the
depends on your
hospital's
definition of
infrastructure.
unicorn.
The pattern of these eerie hospital disappearances does not end with Gotzi and Sibia. In the book Autopsy by Professor Blumenthal, the author recounts a similar case. He describes an unidentified man suffering from a chest condition who vanished from a large academic hospital. Like the other two cases, this man was eventually found dead in the rafters of the hospital. What made this case even stranger was that a cigarette butt was found near his remains, suggesting that he may have been there for some time before succumbing to unknown circumstances. The professor's location in a different province, combined with the fact that neither Kotsi nor Sibia were admitted to an academic hospital, suggests that this may be a third, separate case, reinforcing the possibility of a larger pattern. These three incidents, though occurring in different hospitals and different provinces, share eerily similar details. Each involves a patient who mysteriously disappears, only to be discovered weeks later in the rafters or ceiling of the hospital. The circumstances
is
defy
very strange.
explanation, as all three men were physically impaired or too weak to move to such inaccessible locations on their own. Additionally, the lack of surveillance footage or eyewitness accounts deepens the mystery surrounding these events. Some have speculated that there could be an unknown individual or force involved in these cases.
Or force.
If foul play were at work, why were these bodies found in such unusual locations rather than being disposed of in a more typical manner? The lack of external injuries on the bodies also suggests
I mean, I guess that would be kind of obvious. The fact that
making the events even more perplexing.
The fact that they weren't found for weeks and they don't have a clue of how they got there. You know, like if it was foul play, obviously this worked.
Despite thorough investigations, authorities have not provided definitive explanations for these cases. Hospital security measures have since been re-evaluated, yet the true cause behind these deaths remains a complete mystery. The cases of Teteteki Kotsi, Sandila Sibia, and the unidentified man from the academic hospital are haunting reminders that, even in controlled environments like hospitals, unexplainable events...
Imagine going to a hospital. Yeah, right.
The mystery of the California creature.
Whoa.
The California creature remains one of the most bizarre and unsettling discoveries in recent history.
Was it Gavin Newsom?
In November of 2015, a woman named Gianna Paponis stumbled upon a strange, unidentifiable carcass in Los Angeles, California.
Oh, I'm sure there's plenty of those in Los Angeles.
Immediately sparking speculation about its origins. Its bizarre anatomy and unusual features left experts and locals alike searching for answers. Yet to this day,
yeah, hospitals are definitely not a controlled environment.
The creature's body was distinctly unnatural, resembling a bipedal entity with two long legs that ended in hoof-like stumps. Its skin was pink and moist, giving it an almost fetal appearance. Perhaps the most unsettling feature was its elongated, thick neck, which led to a round, spherical head. The head contained thin blue eyes and a deformed mouth, adding to the unsettling nature of the discovery. The creature's overall structure did not match any known species, leaving many to question whether it was a biological mutation, an unknown cryptid.
It would be like a mole rat missing the bottom half of its body or something.
The timing of the discovery only fueled speculation further. Around the time Gianna Paponis,
kind of what it looks like to me, anyways.
Carcass, residents of Los Angeles reported a
try to break into a WNBA game.
Described seeing strange lights in the sky, some of which were captured in photographs and videos.
That we're not going to show here.
Aerial activity, theories quickly emerged that the California creature could be linked to extraterrestrial phenomena. Some speculated that the creature was a failed genetic experiment, while others believed it was an extraterrestrial being left behind after a UFO encounter. Attempts to
wait, I gotta read this. In Southern California, everybody noticed a bright, weird light. The government tried to tell everybody it's a testing of a missile launching, and now people in San Jose are seeing dead aliens laying around, and Facebook deleting every time somebody mentions. Oh my god.
Have been met with conflicting opinions. Some experts initially suggested that the creature could be a deformed animal, possibly from a goat or another livestock species. However, this theory failed to account for the creature's bipedal structure, its oddly shaped skull, and its distinctly humanoid features. Others proposed that it was a previously unknown mutation, but no scientific analysis was conducted to confirm its origins. Without a formal examination,
you notice how garbage the picture is?
The California creature remains a mystery. The mystery of the Kentucky meat shower.
Like, it looks like it was taken on a Motorola
The
Razr.
Kentucky meat shower remains one of the strangest and most baffling mysteries ever recorded. On March 3rd, 1878, an event unlike anything before or since took place in Olympia Springs, Kentucky, where large chunks of meat inexplicably rained from the sky. Witnesses at the time reported that the mysterious meat fell for several minutes between 11 and 12.
Sounds like a tornado
scattering
hit
across
something.
a
And
wide area of farmland. The pieces varied in size and shape, with some as small as a few inches in diameter.
I mean,
while
tornadoes
others
can
were
throw you
significantly
stuff,
larger.
throw stuff
The
miles
incident
away.
shocked locals and became an instant mystery
know
that
it,
puzzled
yeah, sure.
scientists and researchers for years. At the time of the event, the sky was described as clear and cloudless, eliminating any chance that the meat had fallen from a passing storm or airborne explosion.
Okay.
Early reports described the meat as fresh and moist, as if it had just been.
We've talked about this before, Traveler and I. I mean, and it's actually been brought up by other people too. It's kind of a strange position we're left in, where low quality photos and videos, especially in the modern era, are like kind of like obvious. Like your garbage cheap smartphones these days have cameras that are capable of taking like HD to 4K videos and like high resolution photos and all this kind of stuff, and with some of them with like crazy zoom and all that. And you're telling me you can't get a decent clear picture of the UFO or the creature or whatever it is you're trying to get a picture of, right? So there's that side of it, right? But the other side of it is, but if it's too clear, too perfect, and too, pristine of an image or video, it also seems fake, because it's like there's a, what do you call it? Oh, the when something seems too real, and so you don't believe it. But yeah, it's you're kind of stuck in this like conundrum of what to believe, and that's where you just got to analyze each thing individually for what it is and try to determine that. But yeah, in the modern world, I would assume something to look clear, higher resolution, and be able to zoom properly and all that kind of stuff. But it's also the stuff that you also suspect to be fake because it's too perfect. Uncanny, that's the word. That was the word. It becomes uncanny. But that could also be just because we have no frame of reference for something we're seeing too.
Some witnesses, curious to identify the
Yeah, it's just too good.
even tasted the meat. According to their descriptions, the pieces had a texture similar to mutton or venison, leading to speculation that it could have come from deer, horses, bears, or even humans. These early eyewitness accounts only added to the growing
They're out there
mystery,
just eating
as no
humans.
logical explanation for the
Human
events
flesh
seemed
falling
fit.
from the sky.
Scientific attempts to explain the Kentucky meat shower led to the now famous vulture theory. According to this hypothesis, a large group of vultures may have been feeding on a carcass when they were startled mid-flight, causing them to bring up their partially digested meal over the area. Vultures have been known to regurgitate food as a defense
I think I would
mechanism,
need a
particularly when frightened
lot more
or
detail
disturbed.
about like how
If a
much
flock
meat
of these
fell.
scavengers had been flying overhead, their simultaneous regurgitation could have created the bizarre illusion of meat falling from the sky.
Yo, that's weird.
While this
I swear I've seen some of these paintings. Obviously, they used AI to create these images, but the movie Nope? I don't know. I don't know. I don't think so.
particularly when frightened or disturbed. If a flock of these scavengers had been
Yeah, I've seen this painting before. I feel like they took this painting and like just overlaid the meat and
flying
blood.
overhead, their simultaneous regurgitation could have created the bizarre illusion of meat falling from the sky. While this explanation is the most widely accepted, it has never been conclusively proven, and the exact source of the meat has never been identified. Adding to the mystery, samples of the meat were collected and examined by scientists of the time. Analysis revealed conflicting results, with some experts believing the meat resembled lung tissue, while others concluded that it was cartilage or muscle fiber from an unknown animal. Despite multiple studies, there was never a definitive answer as to what type of flesh had fallen from the sky that day. The Kentucky meat shower
I
remains
don't
an
suppose they
unexplored
preserved
event,
any of it.
with no confirmed cause or scientific agreement on what truly happened. Over a century later, the incident continues to baffle historians and researchers, leaving behind one of the most bizarre and unsettling mysteries in American history. The mystery of the carnivorous pink cloud. The carnivorous pink cloud is one of the most bizarre and unsettling phenomena ever
Oh, that's that
reported.
Jordan Peele.
For centuries, residents near the Tomoka River in Daytona,
I
Florida,
know it.
have spoken of a strange pink mist that appears without warning, consuming
Meat
wildlife
cloud.
and even people who come into contact with it. This mysterious cloud, described as having a soft pink hue, has been blamed for numerous animal deaths and even the disappearances of local residents. Despite its long history of sightings, no definitive explanation has ever been
I
provided.
mean, it's probably
for its
just some
origins
swamp
or
gas that
meaning.
poisons the animals.
The first recorded sighting of the carnivorous pink cloud dates back to 1605, when Spanish explorer
What the
Alvaro
hell?
Mexia reportedly encountered the strange phenomenon. In his journals, Mexia wrote about a peculiar mist that he and his men saw rising from the swamps surrounding the Tomoka River. According to his account, the cloud moved unnaturally, floating in the air as though it possessed some kind of intelligence or purpose. When wildlife ventured too close, they would suddenly collapse, their flesh seemingly dissolved by the mist.
Sorry, not meat cloud, pink cloud.
Mexia's men, fearing for their lives, avoided the area entirely. His accounts became the first historical documentation of what would later be known as the pink cloud.
This is in Florida?
Over the centuries, locals have reported similar encounters. Hunters and fishermen have spoken of seeing animals inexplicably dissolve after wandering too close to the
See, that's what I said. Thought to be
Those who have come into
toxic
close
gas or
contact with
swamp
it and
gas that is
survived
hazardous to local
describe a
wildlife.
burning
See,
sensation in their lungs, similar to inhaling toxic fumes.
Daytona,
The
Florida.
disappearances of
Interesting.
local residents have also been attributed to the mysterious cloud, as several individuals have gone missing near the Tomoka River, never to be seen again. The lack of physical evidence has made these cases nearly impossible to investigate, further deepening the mystery. Some scientists and skeptics have attempted to rationalize the phenomenon by suggesting that the carnivorous pink cloud is simply a toxic gas release from the swamplands.
I mean, that's
Florida's
the most
dense
likely
marshes are known
answer.
to produce natural gas emissions, including methane and hydrogen sulfide, which can be harmful to both humans and animals. These gases can sometimes take on strange colors when mixed with certain atmospheric conditions, giving rise to the eerie pink glow reported by witnesses. However, this explanation fails to account for the cloud's aggressive movement, as swamp gas does not actively chase animals or dissolve flesh upon
Well,
contact.
yeah, but
Adding to
how
the
do we
mystery,
actually know
residents
it's
of the area have
chasing?
also reported seeing a glowing orb of light that follows vehicles along Tomoka Road. Though initially assumed to be connected to the pink cloud, the orb appears to be a separate phenomenon. Witnesses claim the light behaves with intent, zigzagging through the trees and even pacing cars as they drive. The orb has been cited
Toxic
for
gas
decades,
mixed with powerful
leading
acid.
some to
Yeah.
believe that Tomoka River is home to multiple unexplained phenomena rather than just the carnivorous pink cloud. Despite the many theories and local legends, the true nature of the pink cloud remains unknown. If it were merely a natural gas emission, it would likely have been scientifically documented by now. However, the reports of it actively dissolving flesh and even chasing animals suggest something far more sinister. Some researchers believe the cloud may be an unknown atmospheric phenomenon, while others speculate it could be a...
Okay, but when was the last time this occurred? When we say that they haven't been able to like explain or study it or whatever, like I'm pretty sure it hasn't occurred in the modern era where that could be done.
biological entity, something that feeds off organic material in an unknown way. There is also the unsettling possibility that the pink cloud is not a natural occurrence at all. Some have suggested that it may be linked to something otherworldly, perhaps even an extraterrestrial force that occasionally manifests in the area. The lack of any clear scientific explanation, combined with centuries of consistent eyewitness reports, makes it difficult
Consistent
to dismiss the
eyewitness.
phenomenon entirely. The mystery of the carnivorous pink cloud continues to fascinate and terrify those who hear about it. While many dismiss it as legend, the pattern of missing animals, dissolved remains, and unexplained disappearances suggests that there may be some truth to the accounts.
Well, the
Whether
next
it
time
was
it
a
happens
strange
and somebody
natural
has a video
occurrence,
of it,
a yet undiscovered life form, or something more mysterious, the pink cloud of Tomoka River remains one of Florida's most chilling unsolved mysteries.
some plants are just not as patient to wait for animals to die and become fertilizer. Like, give me
The
that.
mystery of Jackie Sutton. Jackie Sutton, an enthusiastic ex-BBC journalist, dedicated her efforts to assisting local journalists in conflict-ridden regions while working as the director for the Institute of War and Peace Reporting. Jackie Sutton, aged 50, arrived in Turkey from London on a flight at approximately 10 in the evening in October 2015. The departure time for her connecting flight to Iraq was planned for 12:15. According to reports, Jackie spent a period of time in the cafe, casually consuming a beer, and allegedly dozed off. At approximately 12:30, Jackie approached the counter without showing any signs of worry, only to be informed that she had failed to catch her flight. According to reports, she abruptly burst into tears and exclaimed that she lacked the funds to cover the cost of another ticket. However, she was informed that there were no available solutions to her
Bet she
predicament.
owns a Subaru.
Subsequently, the story takes a highly peculiar twist. Jackie was observed entering the bathroom, and shortly thereafter, 2 Russian women emerged from the bathroom displaying visible signs of panic.
The heck?
The reason for this is that they discovered Jackie Sutton, who was in one of the lavatory cubicles. While certain individuals have accepted the events that happened, others hold the belief that there must have been some form of malicious intent involved. According to her acquaintances, she was a highly joyful and enthusiastic individual who would never take her own life, particularly
That's
over
literally
original
everyone
issue
who
of missing a
ever. I
connecting
mean, not
flight.
to.
Furthermore,
That's
it was
almost
discovered
everyone
that
ever
Sutton
who takes
possessed
their
a
own
sum of
life.
€2,300 in her suitcase, contradicting her claim of insufficient funds to purchase an additional ticket. The disappearance of Gordon White. Gordon White, a 78-year-old individual, was last observed in Idaho on June 10, 2020.
Idaho.
The individual's most recent sighting involved operating his all-terrain vehicle within his own land at approximately 4 in the afternoon. Gordon White resided at the address of Dent Bride Road in Orofino, Idaho, when he went missing. He
Orofino is
experienced
such a cool
dementia,
name
with his state
for
deteriorating
a town.
shortly before he went missing. Gordon White was last observed operating his ATV on his property, and during this time, he departed without his wallet and mobile phone and has not been seen or contacted since. That nightfall, friends and residents embarked on a hunt for him, but their efforts proved fruitless. At around 11 in the evening, he was officially declared missing by the Clearwater County Sheriff's Office after he did not come back to his residence. At approximately 4:45 in the morning on June 11, 2020, officials discovered Gordon's deserted all-terrain vehicle on his premises. The vehicle remained undamaged, with a sufficient amount of fuel in the tank, but Gordon's whereabouts were unknown. A thorough investigation of Gordon's property and the surroundings was carried out.
And the surround.
6 canine units
That should not be so. The surroundings.
motorcycles, a helicopter, and a large number of volunteers. However, no additional evidence regarding his location has been discovered. Following an extensive 11-day search, the Clearwater County Sheriff's Office decided to halt their search operations. The whereabouts of Gordon Bruce White remain a mystery. The mysterious
They searched the surroundings. Is the proper way to say it, not the surroundings.
disappearance of Cynthia Bartrory. Cynthia Bartrory, formerly known as Cynthia Alvoyd, was born on July 4, 1981. She has 2 adolescent sons. Hailing from Omaha, Nebraska, she relocated to Texas in the early 2000s and held a position as a substitute teacher. In 2021, Cynthia was experiencing a divorce with her separated husband. She resided with her eldest son in her residence, situated in Crowler, Texas. The younger son was residing with his father in Fort Worth, which is approximately a 20-minute distance. Cynthia Bartrara was last observed on February 3, 2021, at around 10:35 in the evening at a Shell petrol station located in East
A
Triangle
Shell
Street
petrol
in
station.
Grandview, Texas. This location is approximately 26 miles to the south of her residence in Crowley.
You searched the
Cynthia
surroundings
has
of
been
the
missing
surroundings.
since that night, and there has been no communication from her. Upon
Which
being
surround
unable
you.
to establish communication with Cynthia, her family reached out to her estranged husband, who informed them that Cynthia was hospitalized. Upon the family's request, the hospital was contacted, and a nurse confirmed that she was not present. Subsequently, the family proceeded to approach the authorities. Cynthia's family notified the Crowley Police Department of her disappearance on February 6, 2021. Cynthia Bar-Traore, was recorded by a surveillance camera strolling near the Shell petrol station on the night she went missing, and according to multiple witnesses, her behavior was somewhat peculiar. Cynthia's shiny blue Mazda with a Texas license plate was discovered abandoned on February 16, 2021, on Interstate 35 in Waco, Texas. This location is approximately 1 hour away from the Shell petrol station in Grandview. A state policeman discovered the truck at approximately 2:35 in the morning, just after a record-breaking snowstorm covered the entire state of Texas with ice and snow from February 11th to February 20th.
I remember that.
The battery was depleted, and the keys remained within. Authorities began a thorough search in the vicinity of the vehicle, which was situated in
the
remote area
surroundings of the
McLennan County,
vehicle,
characterized by
in
abundant
the
forests and gardens.
vicinities.
However, no traces of Cynthia Bar-Traore were discovered. As per her relatives, she was not acquainted with anyone in Waco, Texas. The precise details of Cynthia Bar-Traore's disappearance are still unknown, and her case is presently
I remember
categorized
that
as a missing
snow
persons
slash
case.
ice storm.
The Find Cynthia Coalition is offering a reward of $50,000 for any information that leads to the discovery of Cynthia. The disappearance of Mamta Bhatt. Mamta Bhatt, a 28-year-old woman, was last seen by her spouse at their home in Manassas Park, Virginia, on July 31, 2024. Mamta Bhatt hails from Nepal.
Some of these are a little bit
2021,
more
she
recent.
relocated to the United States and resided in Virginia, where she shared accommodation with a roommate. Subsequently, she entered into matrimony with Naresh Bhatt, and the
Into
pair have an
matrimony.
11-month-old daughter.
They got married.
She worked as a pediatric nurse at UVA Health Prince William Medical Center in Manassas. Mamta Bhatt was last observed by her colleagues at UVA Health on July 27th. On July 28th, she attempted to contact one of her female acquaintances via telephone. However, her friend was occupied at the moment and was unable to answer or return the call. Mamta was last observed by her spouse at their residence in Manassas Park, Virginia, on July 31st. Mamta failed to appear for her subsequent workday at the hospital and has since remained uncontactable. On August 2nd, officials conducted a welfare check at Mamta's
I was just about to say, it's crazy how much prettier she is in the left picture than the right
They engaged
picture.
in conversation with her spouse, although he remained silent regarding her disappearance. On August 5th, Mamta's husband submitted a report to the Manassas Park Police Department, stating that she was missing. Naresh Bhatt, Mamta's spouse, told the authorities that his wife had departed from their residence on 2 occasions, but she consistently came back after a little period. Mamta didn't own a car, and
I mean,
officials
come on.
are uncertain about the presence of her mobile phone. Authorities launched a search for Mamta in the forested region surrounding her home, which included Blooms Park, situated approximately half a mile away.
According to all
Mamta visited this park with her infant daughter.
the Bigfoot and Skinwalker stories I listen to and all that kind of stuff, Virginia is a weird place.
Her acquaintances visited the Embassy of Nepal in Washington, D.C. to seek assistance from Nepali authorities in the United States and overseas in locating Mamta. The details surrounding Mamta Bhatt's disappearance are mysterious, and her case is presently categorized as a missing persons case. The mysterious disappearance and reappearance of Stephen Kubacki. It's the winter of 1978 in the American Midwest, and Stephen Kubacki, a student from Hope College, is taking
Some of the ones that are older, and I don't know, maybe it's a type of bias or something, but like some of the ones that are older are more mysterious to me because they happen in a time with less technology, social media connections, all that kind of stuff. So I don't know, I guess it's like I could put myself in that mindset of like what it would be like to disappear in that time, you know, when there weren't cameras everywhere and there wasn't like a way to contact everybody and stuff. They're just more interesting cases, I guess, because of that.
Last days of February before spring begins.
Yeah, everywhere along the Appalachia Range are straight. Yeah,
student digs to go on
that's true.
cross-country skiing trip.
It is, from what I remember, the oldest mountain range in the world. Like, it's existed forever. Used to be taller, and then of course erosion and various other geological things happen. It's not as high as some other mountain ranges, but the Appalachian mountain range is like the oldest in the world that still exists. And considering the way that those forests and woods are, and the people that live up there, and I, it's just a very strange place.
Kubaki was
In
an accomplished
overall,
outdoorsman who climbed mountains in Europe and was an avid cross-country skier. Familiar with the area, this was an ordinary weekend pursuit for Kubaki and to those at college who knew him. However, this small excursion would end up being far from ordinary. Several days later, the alarm was raised when Kubaki failed to return from what should have been a day's activity. At the same time, snowmobilers on the southeastern shore of Lake Michigan had come across a set of abandoned skis and ski poles.
it is so
Police knew
nice outside right
immediately
now.
who they belonged to. A search party was sent out, utilizing both land and air rescue, with helicopters and
I
locals
just have
deployed to find Stephen.
the box fan up in the
Only
front
2 more
window and the
things were
back
subsequently
window in the
discovered:
bathroom cracked
Stephen's
open, and
backpack and his footprints in
perfect.
the deep frozen snow. However, there was something off about the scene. The backpack looked as if it had been abruptly thrown to the ground, and the heavy footprints disappeared into nothingness, as if Kubaki had walked out of reality.
Just
Looking
walked
to
out.
close off the case with a
Sounds
sense of logic, police figured a more rational explanation. Close to the shores of frozen Lake Michigan, Stephen must have removed his skis and wandered too close to the water, falling through the ice and drowning in the watery depths below. His friends grieved, his family mourned, and life returned to normal as the months passed by. That is until, 15 months later, Stephen Kubaki walked straight through the door of his family house, over 500 miles away. Stephen told his recollection of events as best he could. That day, May 5th, 1979, he woke up on a grassy knoll in Massachusetts, some 700 miles due east from where he disappeared.
What the heck?
He was wearing clothes that were not his, had items such as maps and signs
I
that
want
were
to chill. I
neither
just have to
his
open
nor
window.
written by him.
Well, yeah,
And he had
but
no concept of the
I
amount of
like
time that
the
had passed.
moving air
It was
at the
only when
same.
he
Like
was
I
able
can
to
just open
purchase
the
a
windows,
newspaper
but
he would
then
realize
the
that he had
inside is
re-emerged to
still.
consciousness
It's not going
15
to
months
equalize
later,
necessarily
when
with
he
the
first set
outside.
off.
So
The last thing he remembered before this was
there's
striding
not really a
forwards on his
breeze or anything.
skis, and he made his way around Lake Michigan. Before he knew it, however, he experienced a momentary blip, being enveloped in a cold and frozen darkness that hurried him from one point to another, which
Like
felt like he was
airflow.
running.
Like
Aside
airflow.
from this, he had no other details to give. And yet the mystery of what happened that day in February 1978 was perhaps less about Kubaki and more about where he was. Urban myths run rife that Lake Michigan is home to cross-dimensional disappearances. Oddly enough,
Cross-dimensional.
it's not just Kubaki who went missing in this area. Ships, planes, and other people have all disappeared, and for whom there was never any trace of again. As of today, Kubaki's
It's
disappearance and reappearance remain a
7.77C.
mystery.
It is currently.
The mysterious phone call and
I
disappearance
don't think this is
of Brandon
correct.
Swanson.
Whoops.
In the early hours of May 14th, 2008, Brandon Swanson,
It is
a
20C.
19-year-old student from Minnesota, vanished without a trace after calling his parents for help following a minor car accident. What began as a routine call for assistance soon turned into a baffling
It is
mystery
20C, but
that
it
has
is
perplexed
also
investigators,
94%
haunted his
humidity.
and captivated those who have followed the case.
So it's cool, and it's going to be cooler
Despite
tonight.
extensive searches and numerous theories, the disappearance of Brandon Swanson
But very high
remains
humidity.
unsolved, leaving behind a
At least
series of
according to
questions
that.
may never be answered. On May 14th, 2008, Swanson embarked on a celebration with friends to mark the conclusion of that year's classes. That evening, he participated in 2 local meetings. The first one took place in Lind, which is close to his home in Marshall. The second event
Yeah,
was in
it's 70
Canby,
degrees
around
out,
35 miles away from
which
his
is
home.
really nice. That is absolute
Swanson
perfect.
departed from Canby after midnight to drive home.
But okay,
A
so
journey
it's
he
actually like
often undertook as part
87%
of his
humidity,
daily commute to and from school.
which is still very high.
However,
But
on that particular night,
yeah,
rather
70
than opting for the most
degrees,
efficient route
low
between
of
Canby
60.
and Marshall, which is Minnesota State Highway 68, Swanson
That's not
decided
bad.
to go through less traveled rural farmland roads, possibly with the intention of evading law
But that
enforcement.
87% humidity,
Regardless of his
that's the
motives,
part where I'm
he
like,
clearly
okay, it's
encountered
really, really cool, but
difficulties.
I gotta have moving air, because
Swanson's
otherwise
vehicle
it's just
swerved
gonna
off the
get
road
stale,
and ended
even
up
with
in
it
a
being
ditch
cool out.
adjacent to an agricultural field. Due to the high position of the car's wheels, it was unable to gain sufficient traction to reverse out of the ditch. At approximately 1:54 in the morning, Swanson contacted his parents to request transportation back to his residence. He informed them that he was in close proximity to Lind, around 10 minutes away from their residence in Marshall. Swanson's parents departed to retrieve him, maintaining their connection to the conversation while driving. However, Upon arrival, they encountered only complete darkness. Emotions escalated into the early hours as irritations intensified.
This
Swanson
dude
terminated
was
the call at a certain
5'6",
moment.
and I
Upon
swear it said
receiving a call from his
120
mother,
pounds. I'm like, holy
Swanson's
crap! I
parents
can't
were
even
informed
imagine
that he would
being
just
120.
retrace his steps
There's no
towards his
way.
friend's residence in.
That's what it said. How does a dude manage to be 120 pounds at
However,
5'6"
upon
even?
arrival, they encountered
I
only
mean,
complete darkness.
that's crazy.
Emotions escalated into the early hours as irritations intensified. Swanson terminated the call at a certain moment. Upon receiving a call from his mother, Swanson's parents were informed that he would just retrace his steps towards his friend's residence in Lind. Swanson's father left his wife at home and proceeded towards Lind, maintaining a phone conversation with his son. While traversing through the darkness, Swanson proposed that his parents rendezvous with him in the parking lot of a renowned nightclub in Lind. He then opted to take a more
Apparently.
direct route by traversing a field.
Like, I say this because, like, obviously there's tons of girls out there that are like 100 pounds, 120 pounds, whatever, and they're not walking sticks. They're just small and thin. But I'm like, when I think of a guy, I'm like, you're supposed to have like muscle mass. And I guess I see it even like in real life. I'll see dudes and I'm like looking at their arms and I'm like, you're useless. Where is your muscle, bro?
His father perceived the sound of his son's footsteps, but immediately after this, the phone call ended. It would be the final utterance that anyone heard from Brandon Swanson. Despite his parents' persistent attempts to reach him,
Like the lightest I've been in the last, well, we'll just say basically as a grown adult, was 140. And that was like 6 years ago. I got sick with like a stomach bug really bad, and I did not eat. I mean, legitimately, like, did not eat for like a week. I just drank water and like Gatorade and stuff. And then even after that, for like, the following weeks, I slowly but surely started eating more. But like that was it. Like I had gotten down to like 140 pounds or something like that. And at that time, I was only averaging like 160. It was like where I was. But I had lost a bunch of weight. And I remember it was weird because I remember at the time being like super excited about it and being like, oh my God, I'm so small now. If I can keep it off, I could just, and I wasn't like, oh, I'll diet, like eat less, but I was like, maybe if I be healthy and work out and stuff, I could just stay this way. Right. And I bought t-shirts and stuff that were smaller to fit me and all that. I can definitely not wear any of that stuff probably ever again. Because like I'm like 180 pounds now, and it's like I got to 180 pounds like a couple years ago, and it's been my goal for a while to like gain another 5 pounds, but it's also been difficult because that means higher protein intake and stuff. But like I'm not like some kind of crazy build or anything. It was just like it was my goal to just put on more muscle and lose weight, lose fat, gain muscle. So I cannot imagine being 60 pounds
Throughout
lighter.
the entire night, Swanson's parents, along with assistance from his friends, fruitlessly combed across the vast expanse of gravel roads and farms in the rural area. At 6:30 the following
I couldn't
morning,
even imagine
Annette,
being 40 pounds
Brandon's
lighter,
mother,
like at
contacted the
140
Lind
again.
Police
That'd be
Department
crazy.
to inform them that her son was not present.
You
The
are
police
useless
stated
as a
that
man.
Swanson, being a teenage
No, I mean like
boy,
not this guy. Like
was
I'm
not
saying like
unusual
without
for a
the
young
without
adult to
the
be out
muscle.
all night after completing college classes. As the passage of time continued without Swanson's reappearance, local law enforcement personnel ultimately joined the search and then called for a search response over the entire county. Swanson's phone remained operational, and law enforcement used triangulation to determine the precise location of his final call by identifying the closest mobile tower. Porter was located approximately 20 miles
Some of
from
these images
Swanson's
are pretty
original
cool.
location.
Like the walking down the road
The
into
police
like the
focused
mist
their
is
search
like creepy.
efforts to the vicinity surrounding Porter, and later that day, they discovered Swanson's green Chevy Lumina sedan. The vehicle was trapped in a trench located on Lyon Lincoln Road, namely between Porter and Taunton. However, law enforcement officials could not discover any evidence of criminal activity or the presence of Swanson. A comprehensive search, utilizing police
I've heard this
vehicles,
story before.
aerial surveillance, and a large number of volunteers, commenced.
I remember the
The
part where he's
K-9
talking to
team
his dad on
guided
the phone.
officers approximately 3 miles away from the ditch to the Yellow Medicine River, which was running with great speed and volume before the scent of Swanson was no longer detectable. Swanson's personal belongings or clothing were not found along the route to the river or within the 2-mile section of the river, which typically takes approximately 6 hours to traverse. During a span of 3 weeks, search and cadaver dogs were unable to locate any items or remains. Swanson had mysteriously disappeared into the remote agricultural areas and secondary highways of Minnesota.
He's always tilting his
In
head.
late 2008, Emergency Support Services, a search and rescue organization headquartered in Minneapolis, designated a specific area of 140 square miles as their primary target for search operations. Nevertheless, several farmers declined to grant access to search hounds on their property, especially during the periods of planting and harvest, resulting in substantial gaps in the search for Swanson. The problem continues unabated up until the present time. While others speculate that Swanson may have fallen into the river and been carried away by the current, investigators consider this scenario doubtful due to the fact that his body was never found. In a similar manner, if Swanson had accidentally
I feel like
fallen
that
into
would
the
be
river,
the way it
successfully
wouldn't
made his
become
way
found.
back to
Like,
solid ground, and eventually passed away from hypothermia, a trained dog that detects humans would probably have picked up on his odor.
yeah.
According to news outlets, Swanson's mother expressed skepticism regarding this outcome, as a tracking dog had traced Swanson's smell from his car to an abandoned farm over a lengthy gravel path. The trace, which spanned a distance of 3 miles, also extended to the river. At first, the dog sprang into the water, then promptly returned to land and proceeded to follow another gravel route until it could no longer detect Swanson's scent. In autumn 2021, the Yellow Medicine River experienced desiccation due to a severe drought, prompting law enforcement to conduct an unfruitful excavation. The case of Swanson has not gone cold due to the ongoing receipt of tips by law enforcement. As of
Oh
right
my
now,
God.
no tangible evidence pertaining to Brandon Swanson has been found, such as his mobile
That's
phone, car keys,
great.
or
The
clothing.
farmers found a use for him.
Consequently, his parents are left just with recollections and the haunting memory of his final phone conversation. The mysterious disappearance of Brian Schaffer. Brian Schaffer, a 27-year-old medical student at Ohio State University, disappeared on April 1,
The
2006,
Ohio State University.
after being recorded by surveillance cameras entering the Ugly Tuna Saloon.
The ugly tuna.
Brian Schaffer,
Like,
a second-year medical student at Ohio State, had a promising future. However, everything took a different turn when a night out to commemorate the start of spring break resulted in his sudden vanishing. Brian Schaffer mysteriously disappeared after casually visiting many bars with his flatmate in the presence of numerous bar patrons shortly before 2 in the morning. Schaffer expressed to his peers that his true aim was to establish a musical group.
all the
He
tomatoes
was
have that
attracted to the
slightly.
tropical
That's funny.
lifestyle associated with Jimmy Buffett and had such a strong admiration for Pearl Jam that he got their insignia permanently inked on his bicep. He encountered his girlfriend,
Pearl Jam.
Alexis
Oh, God.
Wagner, in 2006. Additionally, she was a second-year student at medical school. The individuals in the couple's inner circle were under the impression that he intended to propose to her during their scheduled spring break vacation in Miami, which occurred shortly before Schaffer went missing. In 2006, Brian Schaffer's family experienced their first loss when his mother succumbed to bone cancer. On March 31, 2006, Brian Schaffer and his roommate William Clint Florence went to the Ugly Tuna Saloon pub in Columbus's University District to relax after their spring finals. At approximately 10 in the evening, Schaffer contacted his girlfriend to verify their travel plans and express his affection for her. Following the consumption of alcoholic drinks at the Ugly Tuna, the two individuals leisurely walked to the Arena District and Short North. There, they encountered Meredith Reed, a friend of Florence's, who kindly volunteered to provide transportation back to the Ugly Tuna. According to the security tape outside the Ugly Tuna, it was determined that all 3 individuals used the escalator to reach the bar's door on the second floor around 1:15 in the morning. Schaffer inexplicably appeared outside before 2 in the morning and was observed engaging in casual conversation with 2 women in their 20s before disappearing. Florence and Reed attempted to contact him multiple times, but were unsuccessful, and subsequently returned home upon the closure of the bar. Throughout the whole weekend, Randy Schaffer and Wagner made multiple attempts to contact him, but he did not respond to any of their calls. Brian failed to catch his flight on Monday morning. On that day, he was officially classified as a missing person.
Tuna.
During the initial days of his absence, a maximum of 50 police officers conducted a search for him simultaneously. All of Schaffer's friends and relatives, with the exception of his flatmate who declined, were interrogated and successfully...
It's funny to me because I understand that that's the word, that the term they use, like flatmate, you know, stuff like that. But for me, it's depending on where I'm talking about. If I'm talking about the US, I'm going to say apartment or roommate or whatever, right? If I'm talking about something in Britain or the UK or whatever, I'm going to call it a flat because that's what it is over there. Like, I don't just call it like that because that's where I'm from or whatever. So it's weird that that's how he says it. Weird to me, but to me, that's the context. That's how you tell something apart from another. That's how you tell like the locale from another. Is like, well, if I'm saying apartment or roommate or whatever, then this is probably American, right? North American. If I'm saying flatmate or whatever, then that's because it's referring to something across the pond.
Tests. Curiously, the two women with whom he was observed conversing were not requested to undergo testing. According to reports, Wagoner made a daily attempt to contact him on his mobile, but it consistently remained unanswered and went directly to voicemail. However, on one particular night in September, his phone really rang 3 times. However, Schaffer's wireless provider said that the issue could have been caused by a computer malfunction. Furthermore, his phone lacked GPS capabilities, rendering its whereabouts indeterminable. However, a signal from the phone was identified at a cellular tower situated 14 miles northwest of Columbus. Despite the information available, the Columbus Police Department remained perplexed by the case of Brian Schaffer's disappearance, even though Eddie Vedder of Pearl Jam mentioned it during a show in Cincinnati.
Oh, dang.
The conclusive video footage captured by the security cameras at the Ugly Tuna unequivocally depicted Brian Schaffer stepping away from the camera's view and then returning towards the door of the pub, after which he vanished completely. It is plausible that the cameras inadvertently failed to capture Schaffer's departure from the scene. However, one camera executed a continuous panning motion while the other was operated manually. In addition to another exit, the bar also had an exit that led to a disorderly construction site.
Cameras that have continuous panning motions. That always reminds me of, was it Paranormal Activity 3 or 4? I can't remember which one it was, where it went back to the 80s. And that's probably my second favorite in the series. That's my favorite like horror movie series. But like that scene, there's a scene where the guy is trying to rig a camera to like pan back and forth in his house and to look at like the stairway, the front door, living room, and then in the kitchen. And so he puts it on an oscillating fan stand, like removes the actual fan but uses the stand of it and puts the camera on there. And that made for like one of the most intense sequences, I feel like, in Paranormal Activity, because you could not control what you were looking at. And that was like the whole thing, is you're the camera in the place. You know, it was so good. It was so good. Very creative.
Investigators then speculated whether Schaffer's disappearance was intentional. He had the option to alter his attire or depart by the exit that connected to the building site. However, Schaffer's family has consistently maintained that there was no reason for him to fabricate his disappearance. Furthermore, it appeared that he had a greater number of positive experiences to anticipate rather than to evade. When Brian Schaffer's credit cards, bank accounts, and cell phone were unused for over a year, his family started to doubt his survival. Schaffer's sole surviving family member is his younger brother, who is currently engaged in the ongoing effort to locate him. In 2020, a glimmer of hope emerged and quickly faded.
And there it goes, refreshing the entire YouTube chat. That's crazy. I don't know why it does that.
Surfaced and gained widespread attention due to his striking likeness to Schaffer. Following meticulous face analysis, the FBI concluded that it was not him. As of right now, Schaffer has not been seen or heard from since.
Yeah, well.
Cigar-shaped UFOs.
Oops. I don't know. I feel like when people get seasick in movies, it's kind of like when people when they say that like they get a headache or can't focus during like 3D movies, and I'm like, well, that's because you're trying to focus on it. Like, you're just supposed to look at it as if it's like actual objects in front of you, like not think about it, you just look at it. And so you get the eye strain, and you get that, like, I don't know, that uneasy feeling or whatever, because you're trying to look at 3D objects instead of just looking at objects. I don't know. It's weird.
Hovering above California.
I really need
In
to
the
rewatch
evening
the
of
Paranormal
December
Activity
23rd,
movies, but I don't
2020,
I don't know if
residents
I
of
want to
Orange
sit and watch
County,
them by
a
myself.
region in Southern California known for its sunny beaches and vibrant communities, were greeted with a sight that left many questioning their eyes and the boundaries of reality.
And the boundaries of
During the
reality.
night, two massive, bright, cigar-shaped objects were photographed, hovering silently in the sky above the county. The strange sighting, which quickly became the talk of the town, sparked a flurry of speculation, intrigue, and debate about what exactly these unidentified flying objects were and where they might have come from. The late night of December 23rd was unremarkable in many ways. However, as the night rolled in, several eyewitnesses noticed something highly unusual. Two enormous, cigar-shaped objects were suspended in the sky, shining brightly.
Always funny to me when
The
they
objects
always
were
describe
described
them as
long and
cigar shaped.
cylindrical, with smooth surfaces and no discernible wings, tails, or engines. Witnesses quickly grabbed their cameras and phones to capture the strange phenomenon, resulting in a series of photographs that would soon circulate widely online. The images clearly showed the two objects hovering at a significant altitude, side by side, with a calm and steady presence. Unlike conventional aircraft, these objects emitted no sound, and their hovering behavior defied the laws of aerodynamics as understood by modern science. The sightings were reported by multiple individuals from different parts of Orange County, adding credibility to the accounts. People described a sense of awe and confusion, unsure of what they were witnessing, but certain that it was something out of the ordinary. As the morning progressed, the objects remained visible for some time before suddenly accelerating at incredible speeds, vanishing from sight as abruptly as they had appeared. The photographs taken by witnesses provide some of the most compelling evidence of the sighting.
No, they
In the
don't.
images, the two cigar-shaped objects
don't.
stand out against the morning sky.
We are the
Their
Who's
sleek,
and Whoville, and that is the
elongated forms
taillights of a
mistakenly
car.
distinct from the clouds and other atmospheric features.
There's nothing compelling.
The
Like,
objects are
I'm not saying I hate using the I'm a believer or whatever, or I'm a skeptic, or that's not how I think about it. But like, I have seen UFOs, right? Like, I've actually seen them, and I've seen plenty of cases where I'm like, this is something that is actually, out of the ordinary, kind of interesting. I would believe that this could be something that's not an aircraft or, whatever. I've seen plenty of those kinds of stories where I think that they could be real. And then there's plenty of others where I go, like, this is absolutely silly, like this. Like, there's no compelling evidence going on here. What are we talking about? Like, this is actually one of the worst examples I've seen.
appear metallic, reflecting light in a way that suggests they are made of a material not commonly seen in conventional aircraft. Experts and enthusiasts alike have analyzed the photographs, looking for clues that might explain the nature of these objects. Some have pointed out that the cigar shape is a recurring theme in UFO sightings, often associated with large, advanced craft that are possibly of
It's a
extraterrestrial
recurring theme in
origin.
how people describe them.
The fact that these objects were seen
I probably
in
would have
tandem,
never used
hovering
cigar.
in close proximity to each
God,
other,
those are
adds
terrible
another
photos.
layer of mystery, suggesting a coordinated presence rather than random or isolated incidents. One of the most striking aspects of the photographs is the apparent size of the objects. Witnesses estimated that the UFOs were each several hundred feet in length, making them significantly larger than any known aircraft. Their sheer scale, combined with their
Like the
silent
Phoenix
hovering,
Lights, I don't think
challenges
you were here,
conventional
Ari, for that one.
explanation.
I watched a really good documentary about the Phoenix Lights like a week ago. And that story, first of all, the fact that I was like there for it, not there in Phoenix, but like I was alive for it, and I remember that being a thing. But the way that worked, the variance of witnesses and where they were located, and the fact they got video, and then those videos were broke down and analyzed, and with spectroscopy, not the other one, The guy made sure that was a clear. But anyways, there were so many witnesses to these things that had essentially the same kind of story or the same story from so many different parts of the Arizona Valley or the Phoenix Valley. And then there was the various different footages and just so many things played into that I go, yeah, something legitimately happened here that was out of the norm, right? And I'm not, you can't say, oh, it's aliens, but it definitely was not like the flares that the government wanted you to think it was, and it was not, just some typical airplanes or some swamp gas or anything, right? So, but that's because everything kind of adds up to not adding up. Whereas some crap like this, I'm like, no, this is like one of the worst UFO claims I've ever seen.
Objects were not of human origin. As news of the sighting spread, various theories emerged in an attempt to explain the phenomenon. The most common and immediate suggestion was that the objects were some form of advanced military aircraft, possibly undergoing secret testing. Given Orange County's proximity to several military installations and aerospace companies, this theory seemed plausible to some. However, the lack of visible propulsion systems, the silent operation, and the
Uncle Bernie
unprecedented speed at which the objects departed make this explanation difficult to accept. Another
Uncle
theory
Bernie, who is
posited
once
that the
again
objects were drones,
asking
perhaps
you,
part of a large-scale operation or an elaborate hoax. However, the size and behavior of the objects make this explanation unlikely, as current drone technology cannot replicate the characteristics observed during the sighting. The possibility that the objects were atmospheric phenomena or optical illusions was also considered. Some skeptics suggested that the cigar-shaped UFOs could have been elongated clouds. However, this theory fails
okay,
to
they're
account
definitely
for the
not clouds.
consistency of the
That's a
sightings in
stupid
multiple
explanation.
locations, the sharpness of the object's outlines in the photographs, and their sudden coordinated departure. For many, the most intriguing theory is that the objects were extraterrestrial in origin. The cigar shape, which has been reported in numerous UFO sightings around the world, is often associated with large interstellar craft. The idea that these objects could be visiting Earth, possibly observing or studying human activity, captures the imagination and aligns with the broader narrative of UFO sightings and encounters reported throughout history. The incident also highlights the importance of keeping an open mind when encountering the unknown. While it is easy to dismiss such sightings as mere illusions or misunderstandings, the consistent and credible accounts from multiple witnesses suggest that something extraordinary did occur that morning in Orange County.
What credible accounts?
The Ilkley Moor Incident. Many have often referred to the Ilkley Moor Incident as one of the most compelling pieces of evidence surrounding the claims of encounters with advanced beings. This is due, in part, to the photographic evidence that had been gathered of the event by the witness that claimed he had later been taken by the beings he had encountered. According to the report, a man by the name of Philip Spencer had moved to the West Yorkshire area after leaving his old job to be closer with his family. Prior to this move, Philip Spencer had worked as a police officer for more than 4 years and was more than respected as a hard-working and honest citizen. During his move to West Yorkshire, he had noticed a strange number of lights often seen in the fog. Many others would confirm their sightings of these strange lights as well, but would often retort that it was probably lights from airplanes flying around the military bases and airports nearby.
Likely.
These strange claims led Philip Spencer to buy a high-end camera at the time, in the attempt to gather evidence of these foggy lights and look into the increasingly weird rumors being told throughout the area. As Philip Spencer then went out the next day in the early morning to capture some pictures, he began to notice that some strange figure was following him in the fog.
You know what they say, the most likely explanation is the most likely explanation, or something like that.
Humanoid, almost alien-like creature that had been running through the fog near him. Without thinking, he chased the entity until he noticed a large dome-shaped aerial craft lift from the ground near him and take off into the sky. It wasn't long before Philip Spencer then began running back into town, noticing that more than an hour had gone missing between his sighting of the craft and the moments shortly after it disappeared. Today, the picture taken proves to be one of the biggest pieces of evidence that the encounter was genuine. Additionally, many have claimed that the lost amount of time experienced by Spencer may have been an event that was later wiped from his memory after the encounter, shrouding that time in complete mystery.
Or he...
The catacombs have always been a subject of intrigue, especially after a recent photograph surfaced on social media. The image, captured by a
Ooh.
man during his expedition into the depths of the catacombs, unveiled a startling anomaly.
I've
A
listened to
humanoid
some
figure.
pretty awesome stories about the catacombs, both like they're supposedly real and that are, just like Reddit story, creepypastas and stuff. And the fact that that place exists is crazy to me. It's kind of like the Seattle Underground or whatever it is, where like there's entire sections of old Seattle, like this city that used to exist, that are underneath the current city because of like building over top of it after like disasters and stuff like that. That's so weird. I mean, it's awesome, but it's so weird and so creepy because there are pretty awesome stories of, people going down there and running into things, and it's such a crazy concept that something like that even exists. That there's entire sections of a major US city, like they're just built, that are underneath what currently exists, and then there's weirdos and weird things that exist down there.
Lurking within the tunnels. Given the eerie reputation of the catacombs of Paris, rumoured to house the remains of over 6 million individuals, it comes as no surprise that such mysterious occurrences are attributed to this enigmatic underground realm. The chilling revelation in the photograph casts a captivating veil of mystery over the catacombs, inviting contemplation of the spectral lore surrounding this subterranean labyrinth. Upon viewing the images, observers claimed to discern a figure resembling a human, affirming its resemblance to the enigmatic shadow people, the frequently witnessed spectral beings of paranormal lore. The precise nature of these entities remains a topic of
Of
conjecture.
course, we had an urban myth. I got you, Ari. We had an urban myth up in Boise. It was the Chinese tunnels, I believe it is, because there was a period of time in the early, I believe it was the early 1900s, when there were a whole bunch of Chinese immigrants that lived in the Boise area that were doing, I think they were doing like construction and various other things, and they slowly but surely like left. Are we watching YouTube? Oh, what's up, Burrito? We're watching creepy slash silly mysteries, basically. Some of them are kind of fascinating about like missing persons, and others are like, that is clearly not a UFO. That's just a streak of light in your camera.
Descriptions depict the shadow people as amorphous dark entities, often spotted in proximity to reputedly haunted items or sites associated with tragic events. Witnesses commonly report an overwhelming sense of dread upon encountering them, accompanied by a perceived draining of energy, leaving behind an aura of darkness. Accounts diverge on their
Aura
ocular
of
appearance,
darkness.
with some attributing glowing red eyes to these entities, while others describe them as possessing entirely black
A lot of
orbs.
shits have been up, and
Their
yeah,
motives remain
hear that.
shrouded in mystery, with those who have encountered them expressing a sense of malevolence. The
Not
historical
bad.
background of the
Mostly just
region plays
like
a crucial role in
work and dealing
comprehending
with
the nature of this
various
phenomenon
car
and the reasons
things and
behind the widespread unease associated
trying
with
to make sure
visiting
I
the
stay on the
catacombs.
streaming and all that.
With the urban population expanding, the mortality rate also rose significantly. It became evident to both the authorities and inhabitants of the area that the existing cemeteries were experiencing severe overcrowding, posing a substantial challenge for religious
Oh yeah,
communities
we're
and
having
public health.
overcrowding
This
of
led
the
to a situation
cemeteries.
where those responsible for handling the deceased were unable to carry out appropriate burial rituals, provoking discontent among local religious factions. Furthermore, the exposure of bodies to the elements, and at times their incomplete burial, contributed to the spread of diseases, exacerbating the prevailing concerns. The issues mentioned earlier prompted the development of the catacombs, extensive networks
Going to
of
bed.
tunnels and chambers.
It's all good. Yeah, I was just trying to get in some of these just chill and watch creepy stuff videos for October and stuff. Last week I watched a really good documentary about the Phoenix Lights UFOs from back in '97. That was really good. But yeah, I will probably be doing some gaming stuff throughout the week, but yeah, just hit me up. Hope you're good.
carved beneath the city to serve as an extensive and seemingly endless burial ground for the deceased. What makes this particularly unsettling is the practice of using human bones for decorative purposes, arranging them in seemingly never-ending rows along the tunnel walls. It is estimated that approximately 6 million individuals' remains are interred within the catacombs.
That's crazy.
And this number continues to rise
That's
with the
so
ongoing
many.
discovery of new chambers, passageways, and sections within this subterranean necropolis. The realm
Necropolis,
of
yeah.
unexplained
Good way to
phenomena
describe it.
contains various entities that captivate curiosity.
There's
And
probably
among
just
these,
some dude walking
shadow
around the
people
corner over
stand
there
out.
and they caught him in motion.
These enigmatic beings are often depicted as dark, human-like figures that swiftly traverse one's peripheral vision before vanishing into obscurity. While skeptics attribute these sightings to optical illusions or psychological effects, the numerous testimonies and eerie encounters surrounding shadow people suggest that there may be more to their existence than mere products of the mind. This spurs a profound inquiry into the validity and significance of these encounters within the sphere of unexplained phenomena. The notion of dark, sinister creatures is not limited to contemporary supernatural tales. It has profound historical and cultural origins. Across the globe, diverse societies have developed their unique perspectives on shadowy beings, frequently intertwined with traditional tales, legends, or mystical convictions. These manifestations often carry significant cultural and symbolic significance, reflecting the intricate relationship between human
I.e. the
beliefs
homeless guy
and
trying
the
not to be...
enigmatic
Yeah,
realm
he's
of
like,
the
God damn it,
supernatural.
somebody's down here again.
In various Native American cultures, the concept of shadow beings is deeply intertwined with age-old folklore and mythology. Within certain tribes, there is a firm belief in the presence of entities known as stick figures, enigmatic and shadowy figures
nice.
reputed to inhabit the depths of the forests. These beings are rumored to have a propensity for seizing children or wanderers who stray too deep into the wilderness. In European folklore, there exists a long-standing association between shadow figures and a diverse range of supernatural entities. One such enigmatic entity is the notorious Hat Man, a dark, shadowy figure characterized by the presence of a wide-brimmed hat. Reports of encounters with this mysterious entity transcend various cultures, and it is frequently linked with malevolent intentions, adding to its enigmatic nature. Shadow people are often portrayed...
I don't remember where I heard the story, if it was just a creepypasta. Oh, no. It was, I can't remember if it was from Reddit or from 4chan, but there was like a series of stories about like this guy who was just in all these different countries, right? The same person kept appearing, like people would encounter him in like, creepy circumstances or whatever, but he would be in Japan or Brazil or Germany or what, and that kind of stuff. I love those stories.
as obscure, shadowy figures that bear a resemblance to the
Not so
human
much
shape.
for the actual story content itself, because that's kind of like generic, some guy. But the fact that like it kind of all organically, the stories get told on like 4chan or whatever, that part's fun.
Characterized by an absence of identifiable facial features, clothing, or distinctive characteristics, contributing to their unsettling and mysterious essence. One of the most striking characteristics of shadow
Cousin to Raptorman
is their remarkable
Stickman.
ability to move swiftly and silently. Observers frequently describe these entities as smoothly gliding or darting across the room with an extraordinary velocity that appears to contradict the traditional laws of physics. The movement of shadow people, often described as rapid and noiseless, defies the conventional understanding of physical motion. This distinctive attribute sets them apart and leaves a lasting impression on those who have encountered them. Shadow entities, commonly known as shadow people, exhibit a peculiar propensity to abruptly and inexplicably disappear, often dissipating into walls, floors, or the darkness itself. This enigmatic vanishing act routinely elicits a deep sense of confusion and disquiet among those who bear witness to such occurrences. The frequency of encounters with shadow people is considerably more common than one might anticipate. A multitude of people from diverse backgrounds have recounted their experiences, and these encounters typically take place during periods of vulnerability, including instances of sleep paralysis, lack of sleep, or heightened levels of stress and anxiety.
Yeah, it's almost like, I'm not saying like all of it is fake or whatever, but it's almost like when people are in a mental state that's not the best and they're lacking sleep and stuff like that, that in the dark or in rooms with shadows and stuff, they'll see things because their brain isn't operating correctly.
The phenomenon extends across a broad spectrum of individuals, underscoring its pervasive nature. It occurs with significant prevalence and is not confined to any specific group or demographic. This widespread occurrence underscores the need for a deeper understanding of the underlying factors contributing to these experiences. Numerous accounts of shadow people sightings coincide with instances of sleep paralysis, a phenomenon characterized by a temporary inability to move or speak while retaining full consciousness. Individuals experiencing sleep paralysis frequently recount encountering dark, shadowy apparitions in their living spaces, intensifying feelings of fear and unease. This intriguing correlation between sleep paralysis and reported shadow people encounters has sparked widespread interest in exploring the intricacies of these experiences and their potential psychological and physiological underpinnings. Shadow people are often linked to unsettling experiences, such as nightmares and night terrors. Individuals recount being startled from their sleep in the dead of night, feeling completely immobilized by dread, while they observe indistinct, shadow-like figures in their sleeping quarters or lingering ominously over their sleeping space. The phenomenon of shadow people has garnered considerable interest, sparking discussions and investigations.
I mean, it couldn't have anything to do with the fact that they're like waking up and they're basically still in like a waking state. So their brain is running on dreams and imagination.
Paranormal occurrences, and during the transitional phases between wakefulness and sleep, namely hypnagogic and hypnopompic hallucinations, individuals often report encounters with shadow people. As they transition in and out of slumber, witnesses may discern dark, phantom-like figures manifesting in their bedroom surroundings. These eerie apparitions are commonly observed during these states of altered consciousness. The concept of shadow people is deeply entrenched in the realm of the paranormal for certain individuals. Advocates assert that these entities are of supernatural origin, potentially interdimensional travelers, or even malevolent spirits. The apprehension associated with shadow people finds its origins in the intrinsic human inclination to react to unsettling and mysterious phenomena. The mere presence of something that eludes logical explanation and disrupts our grasp of reality invokes a primal fear within us. The uncanny nature of shadow people, characterized by their unsettling appearance and unnatural behavior, positions them as enigmatic entities that challenge conventional comprehension, thereby leaving those who encounter them overwhelmed with an intense feeling of dread. This fear of the unknown and the eerie presence of shadow people deeply ingrains itself within the depths of the human psyche, giving rise to an
More or less
unshakable sense of
interdimensional.
unease and trepidation. Shadow people are frequently depicted as obscure, shadowy entities without defined characteristics or facial expressions. The lack of identifiable countenances or motives often leaves observers feeling unsure and uneasy. The dread of the unknown, the ambiguity of what lurks within the darkness, intensifies the fear encountered in these situations. This can lead to a profound sense of disquiet and trepidation, as individuals grapple with the enigma shrouded in darkness, igniting deep-seated fears and apprehensions. The entities known as shadow people have the perplexing ability to blur the lines between what is real and what is not within our understanding of the world. Their unexpected manifestations in ordinary situations pose a direct challenge to the reliability of our familiar environment. As a result, the unsettling intrusion into one's feelings of security and assurance significantly fuels the profound apprehension felt when encountering these enigmatic beings. The anxiety surrounding shadow people is closely linked with a wider apprehension of the paranormal. Observers frequently perceive these experiences as interactions with beings that violate conventional laws and reasoning. This apprehension originates from a fundamental belief in the limitations of the tangible world and the enigmatic domains that lie beyond. Those who encounter shadow people often interpret these experiences as encounters with entities that
Holy
transcend
crap.
the laws of nature,
Holy crap.
evoking the body's fight or flight response, equipping individuals to respond.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not
potential
just going to
dangers.
listen to it
Although fear may
regurgitate
induce
the
discomfort,
same.
it serves as a surviving the ability that they devoted an extensive amount of time to meticulously examine platform.
Okay, here we go.
An individual on a social media platform has shared that they devoted an extensive amount of time to meticulously examining historical documents, delving into maps, and scrutinizing satellite imagery, all in an effort to uncover the enigmatic mysteries of bygone eras. Unbeknownst to him, a momentous shift awaited in his life on this particular day, completely altering its trajectory in an unforeseen manner.
I'm guessing that's supposed
On
to
a
be
chilly
like an
winter
Oblivion
evening,
gate or something.
as he delved into the depths of the internet in search of captivating satellite images, he chanced upon a photograph that truly captivated him. The aerial photograph, taken from an elevated position above Mount Ararat, revealed a massive edifice with a form that evoked the fabled Noah's Ark. The
Oh,
structure was of
what? I didn't even
significant
see that.
proportions
That's
and
funny.
bore a striking resemblance to the renowned boat. The ark-like formation appeared to be emerging from the slowly melting ice and snow that had enshrouded Mount Ararat for centuries. Deeply conscious of the mountain's historical importance, which has long been regarded as the possible location of the biblical ark, he encountered an image that appeared to offer indisputable evidence, thanks to modern technology, suggesting the potential existence
I
of
don't know.
the
That
ark.
looks a lot more like a hand
This
drawing.
discovery held monumental significance,
Right.
as it
Yeah, there are
challenged
times that AI
prior
just repeats the
skepticism
same thing to
and
fill the
encouraged
slides.
a fresh
Basically,
exploration of the
they
mountain's
give
secrets.
it a
A
subject,
blend of
and then they give
historical
it a
belief.
length of time. I think that they want it to talk about it, and then it especially if it gets into a subject like that where it can't like finish in any conclusive way, it'll just kind of regurgitate the same concept over and over and over again, worded different.
And modern evidence presented a compelling narrative, igniting widespread curiosity and prompting others to join in. Unable to dismiss the possibility that he had stumbled upon a profound historical find, he embarked on a quest to verify the authenticity of the satellite image. He contacted experts in the fields of archaeology, geology, and remote sensing, eager to gather their insights and opinions. Researchers from around the globe are instantly captivated by the image. Some were
Now, when
skeptical,
I'm listening to like a
dismissing it as
space
a natural
documentary at
geological
night,
formation,
I
while
listen
others
to
were intrigued by the
I listen to a lot of like obviously like stuff about space and physics and all that kind of stuff. And there's the ones that I listen to where they're a real person narrating something, or like they're actually sitting there talking. Um but then there's the ones that are like 2 hours long, and they're perfect because they will talk about actual science. They will talk about like an actual subject at length, and or various different parts of that. But you know that at some point it's an hour in or whatever. When it's a 2 hour video, it's probably going back over the same subjects it already talked about, just in different ways. But that's perfectly fine when I'm just listening to something about space, because most of the things I listen to about space are things I already know anyways, and I'm trying to fall asleep to it.
possibility that this could be the evidence they had long sought. The discovery becomes even more intriguing due to the long-standing historical connection between Mount Ararat in eastern Turkey and the reputed resting place of the legendary Ark. For centuries, the location has been linked to the final resting place of the Ark, adding depth to the historical and cultural significance of this revelation. While the
Most
biblical
of the time.
narrative has been a
Most of the
source
time.
of inspiration, it has also sparked debate and skepticism. Mount Ararat, an imposing and majestic dormant volcano with an elevation exceeding 16,000 feet, has been enshrouded in enigma and folklore for centuries. According to biblical accounts, it is believed to be the landing site of the Ark following the Great Flood, symbolizing optimism and rejuvenation. The narrative chronicling Noah, his kin, and the animals they safeguarded holds pivotal significance in the realms of Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, encompassing a profound and timeless tale of resilience, faith, and salvation. Moreover, this enigmatic mount has inspired countless expeditions, theological debates, and scholarly investigations, evoking a profound sense of awe and fascination among both religious adherents and academic circles. Over the course of centuries, an extensive number of explorers, thrill seekers, and religious travelers have embarked on expeditions to Mount Ararat with the intent of finding proof validating the presence of Noah's Ark. Although several individuals asserted they had come across remains of the Ark, their discoveries have frequently been met with doubt because of the absence of conclusive evidence. These pursuits have sparked widespread interest and debate, with people across different cultures
So
and
did this
backgrounds
guy go to this
expressing
rock
a strong
face that
curiosity
clearly
about
does
the
not
potential
look like that?
discovery of such a significant historical artifact.
I've done that at
One of the
Bible reading.
prevalent hypotheses regarding the occurrence of the Great Flood suggests that it might have been the result of a natural calamity, potentially triggered by a significant meteor or comet impact, a colossal earthquake, or a volcanic eruption. This theory denotes that the cataclysmic event was a consequence of substantial geological or extraterrestrial forces, leading to widespread devastation and inundation. According to this particular theory, the inundation would have been attributed to the melting of ice caps or extensive rainfall. This catastrophic event would have submerged extensive land areas, resulting in the destruction of entire civilizations and the decimation of a substantial portion of the world's plant and animal life. The inundation, as proposed by this hypothesis, could have had far-reaching consequences for the global ecosystem and human settlements. Another perspective posits that the Great Flood may have been a figurative or allegorical occurrence, intended to symbolize a spiritual or philosophical variety rather than a factual event. In line with this perspective, the deluge signifies a global purification or rebirth, akin to
let's see. Central Intelligence Agency, Office of the Director, or Noah's Ark and Mount Ararat. That's funny. I provide copies of imagery contained in OIA's and NPIC's files on Noah's Ark and Mount Ararat. As you can see by the accompanying record of requests for information, we have consistently denied requests for release of this imagery due to classification considerations. Also, have never been able to conclude Noah's Ark. We have responded to FOIA requests on a case. That is ridiculous.
into a spiritual cleansing that eradicates the transgressions.
Yeah, the CIA knows where Noah's Ark is and is hiding it from us for some reason.
This interpretation emphasizes the profound significance of the flood beyond its historical interpretation, delving into its symbolic implications that hold a deep spiritual
Can you imagine
philosophical meaning.
Working somewhere like that and receiving that kind of freedom of information request? You're like, what the fuck, bro? Do I really have to deal with this?
Some researchers specializing in historical accounts and archaeological findings have posited the idea that the narrative depicting the Great Flood might have been influenced by an actual occurrence rooted in history, potentially linked to the submersion of the Black Sea approximately 7,500 years ago.
Now that actually does make sense.
Regarded as a catastrophic incident, it is thought to have decimated numerous coastal communities and compelled a large populace to seek refuge in elevated areas. This distressing event is believed to have acted as a catalyst, potentially giving rise to a plethora of deluge-related folklore and myths across different cultures around the world.
Yeah, no, that actually does make sense.
This evaluation sheds light on the potential correlations between historical realities and the genesis of legendary tales about cataclysmic floods. The Great Flood is speculated by another theory to potentially stem from a cultural recollection of the conclusion of the last ice age. This period likely brought about substantial transformations in the Earth's climate, sea levels, and geographical features. According to this line of thought, the narratives of a flood could have served
Hey,
as
look,
means
it's
for
a
early
rock.
civilizations to make sense of these alterations and endeavor to comprehend their own significance within the world. This perspective delves deeply into the profound implications of how ancient societies may have sought to interpret and understand the monumental shifts that occurred during that era. Irrespective of the underlying
It likes to
cause or
call a lot
source
of
the Great
things
Flood, it persists
profound
as a potent and
implications.
timeless myth that captivates individuals from diverse cultures and successive eras. The concept of a catastrophic occurrence leading to the annihilation of civilizations and paving
crap.
the way for a fresh start serves
That
as a
is
compelling
not what I was
symbol
trying to do.
of optimism and rejuvenation. Furthermore, it continues to stimulate the creativity and intellectual pursuits of writers, artists, and scholars in contemporary times.
God.
The enduring allure of this myth lies in its ability to transcend cultural boundaries and continually provoke contemplation and artistic expression. The anomaly's initial sighting can be traced back to the 1950s, when a Turkish airline pilot observed an unusual object on the mountain during a flight.
Just another blurry picture of
Numerous
poop.
expeditions were launched to explore the anomaly, yet none yielded conclusive evidence regarding its existence or characteristics. These investigations piqued substantial interest and intrigue among researchers and enthusiasts, leading to extensive deliberations and speculation about the enigma. Despite concerted efforts, the unyielding mystery surrounding the anomaly has persisted for decades, captivating the imagination of many and fueling ongoing discussions about its potential origins and significance. In the 1970s,
Trying to find
researchers from
grab a
Turkey and
tab
the
to use,
United
look
States,
through.
led by Ron Wyatt, made the bold assertion that they had unearthed the remnants of Noah's Ark on Mount Ararat. Their account detailed the unearthing of a massive, boat-like structure that lay entombed within the ice and boulders in close proximity to the peak of the mountain. According to the researchers, the structure perfectly matched the dimensions specified in the Bible for Noah's Ark, and it was constructed from a type of wood capable of enduring the harsh conditions of the mountain for millennia. This discovery sparked considerable debate and conjecture within both the religious and archaeological communities, igniting a fervent discussion about the authenticity and implications of the find. The assertions put forth by Wyatt and his group were received with doubt and dispute due to the absence of concrete proof substantiating their discoveries.
Due to the fact that they had
Critics
nothing to show.
contended that the formation they identified might possibly be a naturally occurring rock configuration or a deposit from glacial activity. Additionally, they highlighted that the measurements they conducted did not align with the dimensions outlined in the Bible's depiction of the Ark. This controversy sparked extensive debate and raised critical questions regarding the validity of the purported discovery. Since that time, numerous subsequent missions have endeavored to explore the Mount Ararat anomaly and reveal its genuine characteristics. A variety of approaches have been employed, including the utilization of ground.
I'm just letting this run while I do something
and
else.
other cutting-edge technologies for both surface and subsurface scanning, as well as the application of conventional techniques like hiking and climbing. Despite extensive research and investigations,
Yeah,
throughout
like hiking and
decades,
climbing. That's
the
crazy.
enigma of the Mount Ararat anomaly persists, lacking definitive proof to validate or dismiss its alleged identity as Noah's Ark. This enduring controversy and intrigue have spurred a multitude of conjectures and hypotheses, encompassing a wide spectrum from the mystical to the empirical. The anomaly's enduring aura of fascination has engendered an assortment of theories and suppositions, perpetuating the discourse and lending to its multifaceted nature. The Mount Ararat anomaly, situated on Mount Ararat, has been a subject of extensive
Yeah, I was trying to
debate and
find
contention, captivating the fascination of individuals
another video
for
to
numerous
pull up.
years. Some assert it to be the remnants of Noah's Ark, while others posit that it is a naturally occurring formation or a figment of human imagination. Despite the ongoing dispute regarding its true essence, the anomaly remains a source of profound interest and intrigue, particularly for those who are driven to unveil the enigmas of the ancient world. Its mysterious presence continues to fuel the imagination and curiosity of many, serving as a testament to the enduring allure of historical mysteries and the quest for knowledge. The narrative of Noah's Ark, found in the book of Genesis in the Old Testament of the Bible, recounts the account of Noah, a man who, according to the biblical story, received a divine instruction to construct a massive vessel to safeguard himself, his family, and pairs of all animal species from an apocalyptic deluge. This enduring tale has captivated individuals from diverse cultures and age groups for centuries, reflecting its universal appeal.
Alright, this video is
The
like
depth of the story encompasses the divine directive,
25 minutes,
the
and I'm done with
meticulous
this.
construction of the ark.
We're going nowhere. Okay.
On September 8th of 2025, a strange video was posted by a woman whose mother runs a daycare center at...
So I used to, this is actually what I used to do on a lot of my, no, that is grammatically correct. Wait, what? Oh, wait. I made a Halloween themed outfit for Viesa. Wait, what was grammatically correct? What did I say? What'd they say? Yeah, counting the, oh, okay, yeah, I don't know, I just thought it was funny sounding. So when I first started streaming, I don't mean like when I started doing like gaming streaming, like I did this year. I mean, I used to do like random streams on Twitch via my Xbox. but that was like it. But when I would stream for my YouTube channel, I would do streams where I sat and watched stuff like this, or um and I want to get back to it a little bit here and there, but I used to call it Service Industry Tuesday or something like that. But like on Tuesday nights, I used to sit and go through the Server Life subreddit and like read through the stories, because that was like the day that certain subjects were allowed to be posted or whatever. So it was like a bigger day for new stuff. So I used to go to the Server Life subreddit and just kind of like sit there and read through stories and talk about things and give my own stories. You know, that was okay. But then yeah, for a couple years, usually about October, I would watch like these kind of scary compilation things and other goofy stuff like this. So that was kind of cool. I just kind of wanted to get back to it a little bit this year. Yeah, this one's only like 25 minutes, so.
One day, while
But yeah,
her
we
mom
used
was
to watch a
looking
bunch
after
of
a few
these.
kids, one of them freaks out and scares the other children around. The following video recorded the incident, but the reason she shares this video isn't just to show this particular occurrence. Apparently, something else was recorded that has left her completely terrified, and she doesn't know what to make of it. This is what was caught. Take a look.
So, and whenever I've watched these, I basically, the ones where it's like a home video like this, like a home camera or whatever, and like kids are just kind of authentically reacting to something, are the ones that creep me out more than any. Like there's so many of them where you can just laugh at them and, oh, ha, ha, I could see how that was fake or whatever. These are the ones that the most I go, oh, what was that? That's creepy. Oh shit. Dang.
Somehow, the playhouse in the corner falls on its own even though none of the children had touched it. And strangely, it happens only moments after the child ran out of the room, freaked out over something that happened inside. Neither mom nor anyone else could figure out what had scared the living daylights out of him. But recently, after posting this video, someone noticed a certain detail that might explain why he was so frightened. It goes without saying, but what they spotted has made the daycare owner deeply unsettled. Watch closely.
Wait, what? I don't know, that looks like artifacting.
It wasn't until looking closely at the footage that the daycare owner noticed a pair of hands grabbing the doorway.
Oh shoot, wait.
Suddenly recedes back into the room soon as
Oh
the child
shoot.
lets out a piercing
Okay.
scream, as if reacting to it. Now, after seeing many comments on this, the daycare
I was
owner's
like,
daughter
I just
who posted
see
this
artifact,
video
but
makes another video giving an update on this whole situation.
Wanted to quickly
that's a
show
little
you
different.
exactly what it was that was scaring the little kid that my mom was watching. So pretty much the house, and obviously it's pretty hefty, so it really doesn't make any sense that it would just fall on its own like that. And this is the room. The crazy thing about this is that there was like markings at the top of the entranceway of like the doorway, and I guess in the video you can see hands gripping onto the doorway. I don't really know what to make of that. I thought at first that it was like bugs or something like that, but it looked almost like two hands like gripping on the top, like leading into this room, just like that.
Yeah, that's a little crazy.
And the reason that the little boy was screaming is actually in here.
Elmo.
We have this covered up for a reason. Apparently, the little boy told my mom that he saw a face in these mirrors. We already found someone who's going to take it off our hands and pick it up on Facebook Marketplace.
As if things couldn't get any more creepy, we now know why the little boy had screamed. He had seen something in this vanity mirror. According to him, he saw a face. For this reason, they've been covering this up with a bedsheet so that none of the kids get spooked. They don't know who or what he saw, but they've been keeping all the kids away from going inside, and they plan to keep it that way until the buyer who found this on Facebook Marketplace comes to pick it up. But one night, while looking over at the security cameras, the daycare owner's daughter sees that the child safety gate is opening on its own.
Oh, no way.
That's fucking creepy. Do it again. Like, yeah, okay. Do it again. I'll wait. Do it again. Open the gate.
Out of nowhere, something behind the sheet sticks out. It happens right when she tells the supposed entity to open the gate. Although nothing happens with that, this happens instead. But it's not just this which has caught the attention of the daycare owner's daughter. It's also what appears in the middle of the sheet. After standing up and recording the vanity mirror, two little indents appear on the cover, looking just like fingers pressing from the other side. The thing is though, there shouldn't be another side. The only thing beneath the sheet is the vanity mirror, which doesn't have any moving pieces, but here, something moves. Upon seeing this, she immediately bolts out in a panic frenzy as something with the creepy mirror just happened. She has no idea what was underneath, but whatever it was, she has no intention of finding out or going back
No
into this
intention
room.
of finding out.
She has since locked the door, making sure no kids get inside.
That we're gonna keep the room closed off from the kiddos for now, so they can play in the rest of the space.
While she waits for the buyer to pick up this item, the door remains shut. Now, not much else is known about this story.
That
but
part
even with
there,
all the
that's
info,
kind of
it's
crazy.
still-
I didn't see that at first. And when they first replayed it, I was like, oh, it just looks like artifacting. And then when they're like, wait, no, look, there's something on the door.
Pretty creepy, which of course is often the case with these videos. But until further updates, this one remains a mystery.
That is a little crazy.
Now, this next video was recorded by a nurse who filmed this video for an older woman living in a nursing home. It was 2019 when she took this video, but even to this day, this footage continues to keep her up at night. She recorded this video for the lady since she asked to be filmed. She wanted a video of herself blessing a room where apparently many residents have passed away. The seniors call this the death room because, weirdly enough, whenever a resident stays there, they either get really sick or pass away within a month or two. It's a very odd occurrence, but the old lady plans to cleanse the room and post the video to her Facebook group. But unfortunately, she doesn't post it because things don't go according to plan. This is what was caught.
Heavenly Father, I ask for your divine presence to fill this space. May your light shine brightly through every room, cleansing this home of any negativity, fear, or unrest. Let peace dwell in every corner, and love be the foundation of every wall.
Why didn't they just turn the
Bless this
light
home
on?
with your protection, surrounding it with your angels, and shielding it from harm and evil. May every door be a passage to your grace, and every window open to your blessings.
Okay.
In Jesus' name.
Okay.
May every door be a passage to your grace, and every window open to your blessings. In Jesus' name.
It happens quickly, but the rosary gets lifted. Yet saying that is an understatement because looking closely, it actually appears as if someone had yanked the string of beads. However, no one is there. The only plausible explanation would be that the old lady had moved her arm or wrist, which made the rosary move, but clearly she doesn't. Now, the person who took this
That's
is a nurse
pretty good.
who works at this care center, and she states that while taking this video, she couldn't help but feel nauseous. She no doubt believes that there's something off with this room, and mentions that there have been other incidents involving this space. One particular incident that she can't stop thinking about is when one of her coworkers recorded this. During a group therapy session, which included a therapy dog, this happened.
Where's your other sucker? You only have one? Use it.
Oh crap.
Really?
For some reason, the therapy dog breaks away from the group to stare
I
at
like
this
it.
room, which happens to be the same room where many people have passed away. This is unusual since dogs like this are trained to stay calm and close to their handler, yet strangely, they do this. But even weirder is the fact that they're whimpering. If no one or anything is there, then what was causing them to act this way? Only one answer comes to mind according to the nurses who work here, and it's that the room is haunted. Knowing that the so-called death room has had many elders pass away inside, residents and nurses aren't surprised by this video. But to this day, strange things continue to happen, and it's always, for some reason, involving this room.
Why is it beeping? I don't know. No one's in there. It's crazy. Get the light. Get the light.
You say you checked it?
Yes. Did you just get that on camera? No. Stop. I don't. No, I'm not playing with you anymore. I don't like this. No, I don't like this. I don't like this. I don't like this. Right there.
Okay, you're gonna stop this right now.
Just like before, the room is empty, Yet somehow, things continue to happen inside as if someone were still living there. It's no wonder why some residents have taken it upon themselves to fix the so-called problem. From cleansing the room to asking the supposed presence to stop the activity, they've done all they could to end the occurrences. However, as it seems, nothing has changed. To this day, they don't know what's going on with this room. But like all videos, I'll let you come up with your own conclusions. Just what exactly is happening with room 112? At around 3 p.m. on a quiet Saturday, Bonita Adonis was home alone watching TV inside her kitchen. It wouldn't be long before her husband came back from the grocery store. According to her, it isn't often the case that she has the whole house to herself, especially considering that her relatives are staying over for a few months. But even they are away from home, leaving Bonita completely alone. However, that may not be entirely true, because based on what was captured on the security camera inside her kitchen, this happened.
Holy shit, bro. What the
If it wasn't
fuck?
for the passing figure that briefly appeared, Bonita says that she would have written this off as nothing more than an issue with the stove. But seeing how it shook
That's a
uncontrollably
stove? I was
before
gonna say,
lifting
if that's
up
like
and
a
crashing
washing
down
machine or
only
something.
seconds after the shadow makes her think this was anything but a typical appliance issue. Now obviously, stoves don't do this, but it's this fact alone that has convinced Bonita and her family that an unseen presence had done this.
Not the actual
And
stove.
perhaps, as they believe, it's a presence they're familiar with. As
That's
mentioned
crazy.
earlier, Bonita's
My
relatives
first
are
thought was,
staying
oh well,
over
if
for a
that's like a
few
washing
months.
machine
They
or
had
something, and
gathered there
it
after
went
the recent
haywire with
passing of
the
Bonita's grandmother, who passed away naturally under Bonita's
freaking
care.
agitator or something.
Maybe, according to them, this might have been her spirit. But despite what they believe, I'll let you come up with your own conclusions.
That's crazy.
Just
See,
what
and that's the thing, is it's either like I'm gonna look at it and go, well, I don't know what that was. That was exciting, or I'm gonna go, you did a real good job on this one. You know, it's the ones that are like obvious that are like disappointing, because it's like, man, put some effort into making it believable.
occurred here was a ghost responsible
That one
for
was good.
this, or had something else been at play here that could explain this? Let me know what you think.
Just the stove just violently just starts freaking tornadoing.
Now this next video was posted by a mother who writes that on August 13 of 2025, her daughter was alone downstairs when suddenly her Ring camera recorded something that has left her extremely concerned. It's been
It totally should have said, you know, because the last one it showed the stove and it said not the actual stove, right? It should have popped up right there, but not her actual mother.
have since Jacqueline and her daughter moved into this new house. And now, after seeing what happened to her daughter on this night, she's not sure if staying here is safe. While Jacqueline is upstairs taking a shower, her daughter is by herself in the kitchen. Suddenly, this happens.
Time blowing off steam. But now at the casino, she's playing to avenge Paul's death. She lures Victor into a trap, letting him
What the
gain his
heck?
confidence, win a few hands just to see what his tendencies are. But then she goes for the throat.
Within 4 hours, Sally has cleaned Victor out, winning the entire $100,000.
Okay.
Frequently in a poker game like this, because the stakes are so high and emotions are so high, often these disputes are carried away from the poker table.
Aw.
You become so angry that you would act out violently.
Instead of just leaving the game this time, Sally's scared.
With her arm clutched, Jacqueline's daughter immediately runs upstairs to tell mom that something had touched her. Jacqueline froze upon hearing the words that no parent would ever want to hear their own child say. But unfortunately, there's evidence. Something had apparently left a mark on her forearm.
Huh.
Now, Jacqueline states that this photo was taken only minutes after being told by her daughter, at which point she reviewed the footage from downstairs. Seeing no one else around, she wasn't sure what to make of this. But seeing the bag on the couch move on its own and a small object throw itself at her daughter has led her to believe that this was supernatural.
The entire $100,000.
Whether paranormal or not, her daughter suddenly crying and the mark on her arm is pretty strange. But as always, I'll let you come up with your own conclusions. Let me know your thoughts on this one. Now, taking place inside a family's home, a mother named Courtney films a video of a car seat sitting in the living room. It belongs to her baby daughter, who isn't using it at the moment. However, if she had been, then what just happened earlier wouldn't be so creepy, because according to Mom, it was just then that the car seat shook on its own.
Oh gosh.
Literally nothing here. My baby is sleeping. Don't have a remote. It just did its own thing.
It's when the dogs start reacting to stuff, man.
Even the family dog was freaked out by this. They growl and bark as if sensing something dangerous, but clearly nothing is there. If a couple of toys had been there, then one could argue that the shaking was mainly due to a child's toy that vibrates. But as Courtney explains, that wouldn't be possible because the way it shook was too intense for any toy to generate. The car seat had done this on its own. While nothing in this video seems to show what it could have been, it's the following video that Courtney shared where things get much weirder. According to her, there had been another creepy incident just like this, but unlike recently, this one has left her terrified. While folding laundry and listening to her favorite podcast, this happens.
I'm just gonna give this one lady a chance. We'll see how it goes. And we drive there. It's 2.5 hours away, and it looked exactly like my vision. And immediately in my heart, like I cannot explain the feeling in my heart. Like it just felt warm, and I'm like, this is it. Like this is my vision. And you guys are like, wow, this sounds like such an amazing story. God is good. God is great. He is all the time. But there's more to it. And this is just, wow. Looking back, I'm like, God really, he just loves us so much. But so I secured that wedding venue. It's great. Everything's good to go. I signed the papers. I called Drew.
That's
He was like in PA school at this time. And so
tail down and everything.
we had a test that day. And I was like, this is it. This is my vision. And so fast forward to the wedding day. Fast forward to the wedding week.
Oh.
Oh.
Like something out of a horror movie, Courtney's dog begins to growl in an empty space. They walk slowly and cautiously, as if scared to approach whatever is there. Then, after leaving the room, this happens. A baby bottle slightly moves before plunging right next to Courtney. Naturally, she gets up and leaves in a panic frenzy with her baby. Something
That was a
weird
good
had
one.
just happened, and she wasn't having
I don't
it.
understand why the
Now,
car seat
despite
was
there being
facing
not much
away
info
from
in
her,
the
though.
story, it's pretty clear that something strange is going on at Courtney's home, whether it's a ghost or not. These two
That's a little
occurrences have
strange.
no doubt scared the living daylights out of her. But for now, as with most videos, this one remains a mystery. If you caught something creepy on camera, or if there's any ghost videos you'd like me to check out and include in the next compilation, you can send them over to scaryvideos444@gmail.com.
what an email.
That being said, let's get back to the video.
Scary videos 444. All right, this is the number one
Now,
top
this final
video.
segment features a few clips that all come from a bakery in West Virginia, and it goes without saying, but each video is pretty creepy. The bakery in question is known as Rock City Bakery, and recently, the co-owner of the shop has
Oh,
been
I think I've
posting-
seen this show. I used to watch a long time ago, 15 years ago at this point. We used to watch a show called Ghost Adventure. Zach Baggins. Baggins? No, not Baggins. Why am I thinking Baggins? Like Bilbo Baggins. Like Zach, I can't remember his name. But anyways, there was the three dudes. They would go lock themselves in a place overnight. They would record all stuff. And, again, it was probably fake. But they did a pretty good job of trying to present it in a way that was believable. And I think this was one of the places that they did episode of.
videos that she wasn't able to share until recently. Now, according to Morgan, the co-owner, all these incidents that were caught on camera are thought
Oh,
to
wait.
be the doing of a ghost that all employees call Harry. Harry, apparently, has been responsible
Maybe not.
for all strange
I
things
thought
that
it
happen
was.
at work. From kitchen trays that fly off the counter to heavy equipment that appears to be pushed by an unseen force, it's safe to say that the bakery has seen a lot of creepy stuff. But nothing compares to the following 2 videos that were caught at this bakery. According to Morgan, these are videos that she doesn't like to watch as it makes her feel uneasy when she comes to work. Now, just for context, Morgan would always find misplaced items around the shop, but the one item that's commonly found in odd places is a plastic bowl that's shaped like a spider web. There's actually more than one of these, and for some reason, each one is usually found in places where they shouldn't be in. Morgan believes that Harry, the ghost, is
I think that's her employees messing with her. My brother and I, and then sometimes my mom, but my brother and I do that. There's this little like beanie character we have. Excuse me. There's this little beanie character we have. It's like a little orange like monster, Cyclops monster thing, and we will like one of us will find it somewhere that it doesn't belong, and then we'll go place it somewhere else that it doesn't belong, and then the other will end up finding it over time. So I feel like that might be her getting pranked by her
responsible for this. It would happen so often that Morgan had to throw away all the bowls to stop the activity, and it did stop for a while. But then one day, while working a busy shift, Morgan notices a spiderweb bowl laying on the couch where all the customers sit. Perhaps someone had brought it in and left it by accident. Regardless of how it got there, Morgan was spooked out of her mind. So, she checks the cameras to see how the bowl had got there, and what she sees scares her to her core. According to Morgan, it appears as if the bowl had morphed out of a painting inside their shop. Have a look.
What the heck? No, it looks like it bounced off of it. It was like thrown and it was too fast for the camera to see. Okay, well, you know what? Actually, I take that back. That's a little weird.
Viewers, Morgan doesn't know what to make of this. It looks as if the bowl came out of the painting. She believes that this had to be Harry somehow doing this as an attempt.
I would believe more that somebody tossed it in there to bounce off the painting and land on the.
Similar to this one was caught on camera that's made her and everyone else at the bakery pretty unnerved. During the late hours of the night, this happens.
Heck?
Like before, something comes out of a painting, but this time, more things happen around. Looking closely, a plastic skeleton falls on its own, but after whatever this was had come out of the painting. As it turns out though, that object was a can of soda. Not really sure what to make of this, Morgan shares the footage online in the hopes that someone could explain this. So far, neither video has been solved, but still, there continues to be strange things that happen at this bakery. Whether it's Harry the ghost or something else, they're still freaked out by all these occurrences. But of course, what are your thoughts on this? Let me know down below.
Yeah, that one to me, like my assumption there
Thanks
would.
for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. Also, if you haven't already done so, please.
My assumption there would be that it. I don't even know. I should be. My assumption there would be that somebody had tossed the little thing in and to let it bounce off the painting and drop onto the couch. So, anyways, I'm probably gonna go ahead and end this for tonight, and then I will probably go fire up my Xbox and First Descendant. Not gonna stream that, but I'm gonna go hop on that. But I'm gonna go like use the restroom and grab a drink and all that, and then I'll probably be over there. But yeah, that was fun. That was fun. I know basically no. Because there was 3 people. Anyways, I am planning to start a playthrough for a game called Below that I'm a really big fan of. It came out in 2018. I played the crap out of it for a while there. I don't think I've touched it in 5 years plus. but it was a rogue like was how they described it. Really cool game. It's very atmospheric. Has punishing combat. You die a lot, but you restart and you can like recover the stuff that you left behind. And as you go and over multiple, like continually replaying and stuff, you start to learn these puzzles and solve them and like make your way further and further and further underground and start encountering crazy things. There's no dialogue, there's no subtitles, there's no like storyline except for that which you see and experience, which is it's really cool. Great game. I really love it. But I haven't touched it in like 5 years, so what I intend to do is start a fresh playthrough from the beginning and play that on stream. So that'll end up being like a whole night of its own at some point. I haven't really decided what night or when that's going to be. It might be like a Sunday night thing or something. I'm not sure. So, anyways, I'll definitely let people know when that is, but that'll be cool. So, I'm going to go ahead and finish this up.